Huge thanks to OK Jersey. They're your go-to for the 2026 World Cup and an incredible retro archive. They've got decades of iconic league classics, from legendary 90s designs to the rarest club heritage kits. Whether it's a high-performance player version or a timeless vintage look, prices start at just £15, 4.5 Trustpilot rating and fast shipping. Use code Chris for 8% off and grab your piece of football history now.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris Cowlin and this is another edition of the Fan Show. Hopefully I'll be speaking to a number of Spurs fans from all around the world today as we look forward to the last game of the Premier League campaign. Of course, Spurs are sitting in 17th spot at the moment. West Ham at 18th. We are 2 points above. Now, there are 9 scenarios that could happen on Sunday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but Spurs just need a point for Premier League safety, and then we will remain in the Premier League for the 26-27 campaign. Fingers crossed. Now, I'm going to get straight into it. We're live on X, Facebook and YouTube, so please do get involved. If you'd like to appear on a future fan show, please just send me an email. It's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com, and it'd be great to talk to you. I'm going to first go to Vishwa. Haven't spoke to him in a long. How are you?
Oh man, I'm fine. Actually, I'm a little nervous because today I posted my first YouTube channel regarding Tottenham.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I think I'm little, I feel little bit of timid, shy, but I don't know. I just did it. So let's hope, hopefully it's a good start. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking. How are you doing, by the way?
Yeah, I'm feeling very nervous, actually, Vishwa, ahead of tomorrow's game, I must say. I just hope that Spurs can get the job done. We get over the line. Of course, we've only won twice in the Premier League at home this campaign. How are you feeling about that? How are you feeling about the stats? Because the way that I see it at the moment is that we need to put all of the other 37 games this season behind us and treat this game as a cup final and just get over the line.
Man, see, whether we play well or whether we play not, we lose the points in the both occasions. That's the problem of our team. So today also, let's talk about the performance, referees, recruitment, Ange, Vinay, and all of that aside. But if we see at last 5-6 games against Wolves, we conceded a free kick in the last second. If it's Vicario, I think we conceded that goal thanks to Kinski. And after that, against Aston Villa, we conceded a last-minute goal again. Fortunately we are leading 2-1, right? Okay, and against Brighton, we are leading in the game, and the Danso is having a fantastic game, and he did a mistake in our own box in that last minute. Even against Leeds, Tell scored a banger, but it's his game awareness. Ampadu took that he grabbed that opportunity. He put his head, which is not a penalty for me. It's clear that he took that opportunity. I mean, again, if you against Chelsea, the second goal we conceded, again, it's the mistake of our own player passing back, and they took the opportunity. If you see, we are conceding the goals and we are giving easiest chances to other teams all the time, and no one is giving that to us. We have to score a proper football open play goal. We won't have a penalty. We won't have an own goal from other team. We won't get any easy simple passes, and that's the problem. So I don't see. So whether it's a bad game, whether it's a good game, we are losing the points because our players lack the game awareness. That's the thing. I don't know how to solve this, man, because they are professional players. We are here. We talk. People like you, experts in the YouTube. We hear from you. We can talk. But these players, they grew up with with the passion to play football under different managers. They have coaches, and on the pitches every week and week out, they are doing mistakes every time. I don't know how to solve. I don't know how they can solve this problem. Do they need a mentality coach? Which manager can tell a player, "Hey, don't do that fancy clearance in the box"? No one can tell you that, right? The player should know that. Okay, no one can tell Danso, "Don't hold the ball there." Either you go down like every other team is doing, or just clear the ball, bro. I mean. So it's haunting every time to see our player making mistakes. So what do you say about this?
Vishwa, I think there's a lot to discuss, and I know that a lot of people are very, very unhappy with the officiating this season. I put a video out and a post out about this the other day because I don't think it has been this bad ever in the Premier. Yeah. Not only refereeing decisions, but VAR as well, and I think we could talk all day about that.
VAR, we truly, sorry to cut you in. VAR referees, they are clearly against us. Bro, if you have any power, I curse them to burn to hell, really. Because VAR and referee, they are against us. But that's not in our player hands. But our players can control their mistakes, right? How to be focused in the game. Because tomorrow, we cannot blame for a mispass or a wrong error or scoring a own goal. We cannot blame the referee. We will cry for the whole next year. But it's in our player hands. Keep the game simple. Defend as a team. Have a simple ball. Be confident. If you are not confident, just throw the ball to the other side. Just do the clearance and anything. Our players are continuously, repeatedly, they are making mistakes. That's the issue I have seen. They are not keeping it simple. If you remember against the Leeds game, also Matistel in our own box near the corner, he is trying to hold the ball and he tried to do a cross to our right back, but it got to the Leeds striker. It's almost. And these are the things our players are doing continuously. Just like in December, Vicario did a mistake against Fulham. He came out of from the box, and then our two defenders are just looking. They are no one is protecting the goal because Vicario is out. I don't know how the game awareness, that's the thing. And of course, referees, they are a disaster, atrocious. I think we were victims and nobody cares about that. I think everyone, apart from the Tottenham fans and the Tottenham players, Tottenham club, everyone wants us to see relegate. I can say it's clear as the day. So it's like they are asking what you can do about it. What we can do is we just need to play without errors and mistakes. And I see a lot of people hating Colomoni, but brother, Colomoni is not a winger in general. He's a striker, just as Richarlison. And Colomoni is playing out of his position. Do you agree, Colomoni? Sometimes he just carried the ball from midfield to forward. Do you agree with that or no?
Yeah, I think what Roberto De Zerbi in particular likes about him is that he can play in multiple different positions, but I think his decision making and his finishing has just been really poor. To only score one goal in the Premier League, but to be honest with you, Vishwa, when you look at some of the strikers that Spurs have had in their history, particularly history, like when you got players in the final third like Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. And I mean this with the deepest of respect, because I don't like to disrespect people or players. But when you look at that forward line now, it is like chalk and cheese. The quality difference is absolutely huge.
Yeah, no one can make a simple dribble, or no one can make a little step over to shoot. Richarlison need a clear goal, like he scored against Chelsea. He need the post without any defender, then he can put the ball in. Even the Solanke, our players they can't hold the ball. Even Delap had a fantastic game against us. Of course, he deserves a red card. But if you see Delap's all the games this season, and against Tottenham, he's completely different. He held the ball, he carried the ball. I don't know. Chelsea played with the motivation to relegate us more than Tottenham players want to stay in the Premier League until 70 minutes of the game. You see, I think Colomoni, for me personally, I believe, because I also follow Juventus. Last year, he was banging goals. Juventus, he arrived in January and he scored like 10, 11 goals when Vlahovic was injured. I think maybe if he play as a proper 9 in central, maybe he can do something. But of course, he can do better. And the same for Solanke or Richarlison. We are a team with average strikers, and all our creative players got injured. But only thing tomorrow they can do is don't make a mispass, don't make any error, especially in our own box. Just play with the presence of mind, play with the focus, keep your concentration from the first whistle to the last whistle. I think we can get a point. Yeah. That's the thing.
Last question for you. Score prediction for the game against Everton, and also give me a score prediction for the West Ham game against Leeds.
I think West Ham and Leeds, I want to say 2-0 for Tottenham tomorrow, Everton. Minimum, we should do 1-1 or 2-2, man. We are not losing, man. At least, let's don't talk about losing tomorrow. We will be fucking positive for next 24 hours. We are winning, man. No, man. We are winning 3-0 to Spurs. And whatever happens to West Ham, I don't care, man. We are winning the game tomorrow. And that's it.
I love your
Stop commenting everyone about losing on relegation. We are winning tomorrow, and that's it.
I love your positivity, winning, and I tell you what,
we have to be, man. Otherwise, we gonna do the
goosebumps on my arms when you said we are winning.
We are winning tomorrow. Don't talk about, man. You talk about the positivity and how we can win, how players can play. We stop talking about relegation for the next 24 hours. If it happens, then we will talk about it anyway later. Yeah, man. Okay.
Yeah. Love the positivity. Before you go, tell us about the YouTube channel. What can people expect?
My YouTube channel?
Yeah.
I think I will give my honest opinion and my reviews, and I also follow Italian league very well closely since I stay in Milan. So I also kind of contribute with what kind of players from Italy they can take. Of course, they cannot get Yildiz or Rafalia at all right now. But so since I follow football passionately, also La Liga, of course, I follow just 2-3 games every year. So I will give my knowledge about a little bit of Serie A and what kind of players Tottenham can have, and of course, Tottenham game previews and reviews and my kind of considerations or my ideology, because I have seen we are crying about referees and all, so they are literally saying what you gonna do about it.
Yeah.
So our players can do is don't make any errors. I mean, if you see last 5-6 games, how many you can say? First thing, against Wolves, we conceded a free kick in the last second. We conceded a goal in the Aston Villa in the last minute. Danso made a mistake. Tell made a mistake. And against Chelsea, we made a mistake. So, I mean, we can go on all. So, if we cover these things, I think we can get the 3 points. As simple as that. Whether referee can give a penalty to them, they can give all the red cards to us, yellow cards to us. They can do anything. They can have their money, or they bet their homes for Tottenham getting relegation. I don't know what they want to do. If I see any referee on the road someday, I'm gonna slap them because they deserve it. So, but it's in our players' hands. We are 2 points ahead of West Ham, so we can get it done. And for once a while, we will never talk about relegation in our rest of life.
I hope that is the case. I really do. Vishal, good luck with your YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. And
thank you, man. We are winning tomorrow. Only talk about positive for next 24 hours. I beg you, everyone. We are not using any word with R or lose. Nothing. We are winning tomorrow, man. Let's go for it.
Make sure you put a comment underneath this stream so everyone can know your link to your channel. So
thank you.
Best luck with it.
Thank you. Yeah,
cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah.
Cheers. Right, we're now going to go to Simo. Simo, I always leave you until the very end, so we're going to get you on the start. How are you? Vishwa said there, we're not to use the R word. Are you using the R word?
No. So how many scenarios did you count? 6,
9.
7, 8? 9. There's only one in which we go down, right?
Yes.
They win, we lose.
That's it.
So we've got 8 scenarios.
Yep.
And yet I'm still nervous.
Yep. Of course we are.
And I was talking to a mate earlier, and he was saying we could be 3-0 up on the 85th minute and I'd still be nervous. Only Tottenham could you feel that way, right? I don't know any other team that you would feel that way as a fan.
Why is it like this?
Over a decade of underperformance, underinvestment in the team, poor managers. That's why. The only way to turn it around is that either ENIC have got the fright of their lives and they're actually going to put their hands in their pocket and invest in the club, or they sell and get someone who will. But either way, you've got to back De Zerbi no matter what. in the summer. I am going to say we're staying up and we can put this season behind us, but that's not really going to help unless they invest, because we'll be back in the same position next season.
Simo, I've been saying for the last week or two that I think it's very fair to say that we ought to give Roberto De Zerbi the credit that he deserves, because, of course, we're our third manager of this campaign. But me personally, I don't think that we would have even been in this position on the final day of the season, because I feel like West Ham would have been clear of us had we not have picked up those points, because De Zerbi has managed us for 6 games. We've won 2, we've drawn 2, and we've lost 2. I think the turning point was winning at Wolves, ugly win at Wolves, that 1-0 win at João Palhinha scoring. Hadn't won in the Premier League for 118 days. That win at Aston Villa was absolutely huge, in my opinion. De Zerbi, he does deserve a lot of credit, doesn't he? He's been a shining light for us. The positivity he has brought to this football club when, let's face it, when Igor Tudor come in, Igor Tudor just moaned and complained about everything and basically said the words that, I didn't realise how bad it was here.
Yeah, I'm going to temper that a little bit. So I think De Zerbi has just been outstanding. As you said, 8 points. Happily, West Ham have shot themselves in the foot a couple of times. Happily, the dice rolled in our favour for once with Villa game when it was. I'm still seriously pissed off about the Chelsea game and Moani, frankly. But to come back to your point on De Zerbi, I think De Zerbi has been outstanding. I didn't want him when he came in, to be fair, because I had this romantic notion of Poch. I've said it before, and I think any sensible Spurs fan is going to have a very soft spot for Poch. You can argue the toss whether you think he would be successful or not, but I wanted Poch. But there was no interim solution out there that I could see us staying up, because the manager market is dry until now, but until the World Cup's done, and then there'll be loads of managers out there looking for jobs or looking at the next role. Just a point that I want to pick up on something you said with was it Vishai?
Vishai, yeah.
Yeah. What is going on with the refs? It's that bad against us that it starts getting beyond a conspiracy, right?
Do you know what I would say though, Simo? I know that we will all think it's just about Tottenham, but I tell you what, some of the other Premier League games that I've seen, VAR refereeing is equally bad in those games. I know that we always think it's just about us because we're in the position that we are. I know some people will probably shout now and say, no, it's not. It is just about Tottenham. It is a conspiracy about Spurs. But I tell you what, the refereeing I've seen in multiple games across the Premier League, it don't matter what club it is, it has been really, really poor this season.
I can't disagree. I think you're absolutely right. I think the standard of reffing since VAR has come in has dropped dramatically. The reality is the refs don't want to make a decision. I mean, Jared Gillett, how he's a ref in the Premier League, I do not know. I cannot stand Rob Jones. Look at me, I've got a great haircut and a set of biceps. I'm not interested, mate. The standard of reffing and VAR is a joke. VAR, if I touch on VAR would have a great positive impact if it was used in the right way. I.e., if you can't tell whether there's a problem within 30 seconds, it's not clear and obvious, move on. Stick with the right decision, right? What's this waiting 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes? Absolute joke.
Yep.
How do you get it wrong? I mean, we've all seen the video of the ball coming in on Chelsea and then, Van der Ven going down. Yep. How can you not get that footage in 30 seconds? I mean, it's an absolute joke, right? Leaving decisions to VAR because you don't want to make a decision. Well, sack that ref right now. And I think Howard Webb, I was a fan of Howard Webb's as a ref, right? And very few would you say that. I thought he had a great career as a ref. However, as the head of PGMOL, I'd sack him tomorrow.
Simo, let me ask you about Christian Romero, because in the last hour, actually,
I've just seen it on your footage. He's getting a haircut in London, right?
In the last hour, he has posted a picture of himself getting a haircut in London. Now, let me read you the agent's statement that he made to football.london in the last 24 hours. Any suggestion that the trip was made for purposes to attend football matches is entirely inaccurate. More than that, it is completely fabricated narrative being circulated by people who are unaware of the facts and have no knowledge of the rehab plans that have been in place for weeks. Christian's focus is and has always been on recovering as strongly as possible, preparing for the World Cup and supporting Tottenham Hotspur in every way that he can. His commitment to the club, his teammates and the supporters have been evident throughout his time at Tottenham and remains unchanged. Now, before this, it had been widely reported, particularly from Tim Vickery, who is an expert with South American football, that Romero was going to be attending a match, River Plate v Belgrano, on Sunday, which is a key game for them. Belgrano have never, ever won the Argentinian league. So, of course, there was a lot of backlash with the fans. A lot of people coming out saying, how on earth can our club captain not be at the Spurs v Everton game? What do you make of this situation?
I think you've got to take the agent's words on face value. I think it's subjective as to how much you think Christian Romero has been committed to the club. I mean, it's more than a coincidence that every time there's a Argentina game coming up, he's fit, available, and ready to go. And yet, I don't know how many injuries that he's had with us this season. If I look at his performance this season, I don't see it as a net positive. I don't necessarily see it as a net minus. But surely if you're a World Cup winning centre-back with the reputation that you've got, surely it should be a net positive. But frankly, Danso has done us just as well. He hasn't been sent off. He hasn't been injured. He hasn't been kicking players around, and he doesn't have a target on his back with the refs, as far as I can see. Romero, he just got to look at a player wrong way, he gets a yellow. That's because of the reputation he's built up. And then he does stupid things like, getting sent off here, there, and everywhere. Not always his fault.
But the thing is, my point here is that the agent has basically come out and said, well, he's in Argentina having rehab. This was booked weeks ago. And now we're getting a picture posted by Romero of him back in London. So do you think that he imagined or thought that he was going to get the backlash from all of these Spurs fans saying that the captain needs to be in London? Because I've got to admit, a couple of days ago when I found out about this, I was gobsmacked the fact that our club captain was not going to be at the Spurs v Everton game, the biggest game
100%.
in a very, very long time.
So
this would never have been a question.
No, Tim Vickery is a very good journalist. So he would have got it from, I would have thought, reputable sources that Romero's going to be there. Do I think Romero's seen the backlash and legged it back to London? We'll never know, right? I don't think it'll ever come out. But I can tell you now that if he was watching Belgrano River Plate tomorrow, that's his Tottenham career done. I'm still not convinced that we won't sell him in the summer. And actually, if someone came in with a decent bid, I'd take it.
Yeah.
But if he was in Argentina tomorrow, I would have questions of the Tottenham hierarchy, and that would be my first question of De Zerbi. Because the first thing I'd be saying as a manager is exactly what we would all be saying. You're the club captain. Your position is, you can't be in the dugout, but your position is with the team in the stadium and being a leader, not being in Argentina. If he's had to have that discussion, again, we'll never know. But if he's had to have that discussion, then that's so negative as far as Romero's character. It shouldn't even be a question. Now, it is possible that someone's whispered in Tim Vickery's ear that he's going to be there, or maybe Romero said something that was positive to Belgrano, and of course I'll be there, or something like that. Yeah, and the rumor mill has gone on in Argentina. You can see that potentially being the case, but we've got to take the agent's words on face value. But the fact that it's even a debate or it is a black mark against Romero's character. The fact of the matter is that we've never felt that he's 100% committed, despite all of his agents' protestations and, the always together and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. First, one of the examples of that, right, is if you're going to be club captain, one of those things you do is you learn the language of the team, right, of the country you're in. And when he's done fans forum or interviews or whatever, it's always in Spanish. Now, maybe his English is a lot better, and he feels more.
There have been a couple in English.
I think, how long have we had him? 2-3 years? 3 years now?
Yeah.
So 3 years. I mean, why the ones that I've seen in English were like within the last 6-8 months or something. So the fact that there's even a question is what I'm saying is not a good mark as far as Romero is concerned. And I think that a lot of Spurs fans would say that if a decent bid came in the summer, yeah, we'd take it. We got Vuskovic, we've got, Phillips. I couldn't see Phillips as being a Tottenham player, to be honest. I didn't see it, but he got Championship Player of the Season or something for Stoke, what have you. So we got 5, 6, 7 centre backs. I'm sure we can, fill a hole, or at least flog a couple and get a decent centre back come in with the money that we'd get for Romero. But again, this comes back to Enix got to put their hand in their pocket and actually show a bit of ambition, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to raise with you, right, is no matter what happens tomorrow, surely Langer has got to go. I don't see how his position could be tenable at all. How do you sell Brennan Johnson with no other right winger? How do you then sit there at the beginning of February and say, yeah, don't worry, everybody, injured players are going to come back? And that's your transfer strategy, is it? Injured players coming back, which, funny enough, they didn't. And if anything else, got re-injured. I can't see how the guy stays.
I've been saying the last few days, Simo, I think that whatever happens on Sunday, whether Spurs remain a Premier League team or we go down to the Championship, I think that there's going to be a lot of angry people when everyone reflects back on this season. If Spurs finish 17th again, that is clearly not good enough, particularly at the start of the campaign. We were told by the chairman that we wanted to be fighting on all fronts. That's why Ange Postecoglou got the sack. I completely agree with you. I think a lot of bad decisions have been made. I think that Spurs have gone round in circles a lot. I think the transfer windows haven't been good enough. I think that there are so many issues at the football club. And one thing that I am positive about, and that is Roberto De Zerbi. On the pitch, I think that we're going to play exciting football going forward. I think that if he gets the players in that he desperately needs, to transform this team, I can see us shooting up that Premier League table if we remain a Premier League team. But yeah, a lot of things need to change. But, in all honesty, in this last 12 months, 12 months ago today, 1 year ago today, exactly, we had that parade outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I tell you what, how quickly football can change. The players, change. The manager has changed a number of times. In the last 365 days, we've gone through 4 managers. It's just absolutely crazy. We can't go on like this. Spurs.
So I agree with you.
Team. Yeah,
I agree with you with De Zerbi, right? So I believe that the players are not as bad as Frank and particularly Tudor had him playing, or the Croatian Christian Gross, as I see him. I think even if we stood still, De Zerbi next season would have Tottenham in at least mid-table, right? But that's not where we should be. We should be, I think, at least top 6 and aiming for top 4. And I think De Zerbi would get us to mid-table with exactly the same playing squad. With investment, I think we can, certainly be aiming higher. How high? Well, after 2 years of dross like we've seen, it's difficult to say, right? But we've got some terrific players, and De Zerbi, I think, will get the best out of them. And I think if you look at when Tudor was in, I was having this debate, and I was at so much. The squad is obviously a 4-2-3-1 squad when you look at the players that were available. And how he was trying to play 5 at the back, I mean, I just couldn't. So De Zerbi has come in, and funny enough, he's playing 4-2-3-1 and pointed at where the opposition's goal is, and let's go that way.
Can I just ask you before you go? You said we've got some terrific players, because the playing group has quite often been slated by our own fan base this season.
Yeah.
Who are those terrific players, in your opinion, and who are the players that need to stay beyond next season, no matter what division we're in?
So, Van der Ven is a terrific player, and I'll have that argument in the pub all day long. I think Archie Gray, Bergvall, terrific players. I think Bentancur has showed himself to be the quality player that he is. It was no coincidence that when, in my view, that De Zerbi put Bentancur straight in the team as soon as he was available, and he just looks like a Premier League quality midfielder, in my view. It's just as easy to point at the ones who've got to go. I mean, Basuma's going to go, right, and fine. Moani, dear God, don't get me started. And our front line needs a major overhaul. But we do have some quality players, and they're the ones that I would absolutely keep. The rest, I think you can, argue it.
Simo, thanks so much for coming on today, and thanks so much for all of your input through this season.
Appreciate, buddy. And just one word for you. You and the away fans have been outstanding all season. Outstanding. Even in the dark times, we can hear you on the telly. I'm at the home games, right? I don't do away. But we can hear you every match behind the team, no matter what's going on. So tomorrow, this ain't about the fans. The fans have done their bit all season. Now it's down to the players.
Yeah. Goosebumps on my arms again. That's twice that's happened now with 2 guests. Simo, thanks so much. We'll speak to you soon.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Cheers. Right, we're now going to go to Canada to speak to Brian. Brian, how are you?
I am doing very, very good, Chris. Always a pleasure to see you. I hope you are well, and everyone in the chat is well as well.
How are you feeling, Brian?
An emotional wreck right now. Normally, Chris, I don't know with you, I'm normally absolutely fine until the team news comes out. And regardless if it's a full team or not a full team, that hour and 15 feels like 3 weeks. Well, I think the next, however long is it now, just under 24 hours now till we'll know our fate, so to speak. It's anxious is a word, nerve-wracking. I mean, you can come up with as many as you want. It's a daunting and horrific day for us tomorrow, isn't it, really, to be in this situation?
He's been unchanged for 3 games in a row now, De Zerbi. He doesn't like to make many changes. Maddison, I felt that Tuesday night's game, we really did lack creativity, and we've said that a lot this season under multiple different managers, including De Zerbi, but of course it's not his fault. But the Maddison situation, he said after the Chelsea game that he is being told by the doctors, the medical staff, he can only play 20, 25 minutes, but we do look a different side with Maddison in the team, don't we? We
do. And I made a tongue-in-cheek tweet during the Chelsea game, and I actually mean it seriously now. I'd rather have Vicario on the right wing than Moani, in all honesty. He can't do worse. But you're right. We looked so much better when Maddison came on. And what annoyed me with Chelsea is we had those 3 experienced seasoned midfielders in that have done very, very well under De Zerbi, and they've come back, and you've seen the midfield elevate in the games they've been there. But I thought they were so poor, and the game got ahead of them on Tuesday, and they let themselves down, especially Paulinho, who we've been waxing lyrical about. He had one of his off days, but I think we do need Maddison. But then it's which one do you drop out of the 3, isn't it?
When you talk about João Paulinho, of course, Spurs could sign him this summer for 26 million.
Yeah.
Would you make that purchase if it was your decision? Because De Zerbi seems to be, raving about him. But, some other managers perhaps didn't give him the game time that he probably deserved. But, how many times, Brian, over the last few years have we been crying out about having a decent number 6 in the side?
Yeah, I would have signed him in the summer and just got, or in January, tried to make it permanent. Even if he doesn't play regularly for us next season, even though it's obviously no Europe, the experience and everything he can pass down to your Archie Grays, your Bergvals and your others that are coming through, I think he's, for the price that we're talking about, he's an absolute no-brainer. Yes, he had a poor game on Tuesday, but if you look at it, even if those midfielders had played well, the lack of quality in the front three, it wouldn't have mattered what they did. For me, Paulinho is an absolute no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. He definitely adds something that we need, doesn't he?
Brian, let's get your opinion on the crowd gathering outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium ahead of this game, because, of course, it happened before the Nottingham Forest game a couple of months ago, which, of course, we lost 3-0. A number of fans were very disappointed and upset at that point because they felt that they'd given their all. And I'll be, fair and honest about it. I feel that the Spurs fans, particularly, Simo mentioned it there about, the Spurs fans, particularly in the away ends this year, have been absolutely superb. The support for this playing group. And some people would shout and say, well, look, the playing group need to give these fans something to shout about. But they're still shouting. They're still supporting. What do you make of it? Because from what I've seen online and from what I've, had conversations with people over the last couple of days, some people are really for it. Some people are like, well, what's the point? How do you feel?
So, I was saying yesterday that apparently it's not even been done by De Zerbi. Apparently it's coming out now that De Zerbi hasn't. That was the big talking point, that De Zerbi has asked for this to happen. I wasn't a fan of it against Nottingham Forest. People will know me well enough to know where I think every single bit of attention needs to be to be thrown at. I think for me, the most important thing is the atmosphere inside the stadium and making it as loud and as raucous inside, not outside. It's all well and good doing it outside, but we all know the home support hasn't been the greatest, hasn't been the loudest, and I think all that energy, all that coming together, that camaraderie and rallying support should all be done inside the stadium. But if people want to do this by hook or by crook, people are going to do what they believe is right for this football team. And we'll see. But like you said, based on what happened against Forest, if that has the same replication, it could be big problems for us, couldn't it?
How does that change the atmosphere inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Because I know what you mean. There are moments where it is absolutely electric. You have goosebumps. And then there are moments where the stadium is quiet. And, I tell you what worries me is if Spurs, and I've seen it so many times this season, particularly at home, we go 1-0 down and then the crowd start to get on the players' backs and they start groaning, and any misplaced pass or any, slight mistake gets moaned about, etc. How does that change? What needs to happen?
Well, Chris, it's not even if we don't go a goal down, if West Ham go a goal up, the nerves start creeping, isn't it? We've all seen it over the years, and fortunately not been a part of it, where you see the relegated teams checking on their radios or their phones and the nerves, and we all know how it goes around the stadiums. It's how these boys, the lads have just got to come out and just be mentally in the right place. This isn't about quality. This isn't about playing the beautiful football. It's going in there knowing that this is war, and by hook or by crook, by blood, sweat and tears, getting that job done.
Yeah.
And literally, if they perform like we saw, do you remember when Conte asked for us to be like the 12th man in the Milan game? And the Spurs fans gave it all for like 20, 30 minutes. The performance wasn't there, and the fans died down. The lads have to come out fighting to spark the fans. The fans also have to be that spark for the players, and they just have to focus on themselves. If West Ham go a goal down and they hear it, black it out as much as you can and just focus on the job at hand.
Brian, these players quite often this season haven't dealt with the pressure very
Yep.
well. Roberto De Zerbi, he said a number of times he likes the pressure. He likes the fact that David Moyes has come out and said that he wants to keep Everton up.
Yep.
West Ham up. So he likes that pressure, and he says that we need to use this as fuel and to move forward. How are you feeling? If you had to predict the scoreline on Sunday, what are you predicting?
I do. Do you know what the thing is? I don't think any of us can trust us at home. That's the thing. I mean, I would have preferred this game to be away. In all honesty, I'd had more confidence being away than at home, just because our home form has been so shocking. We started with a home win. We had a home win around Christmas time. I think it's time we're due a home win. Do I have faith in it? Getting the home win? No. Do I have more faith getting a draw? Yes. And let's just hope, like I said, where the goals come from, I don't know. We need everyone on their A game. There are players I've been impressed with. I think Kinski, if the players on the outfield can show the mental toughness, courage, self-belief and confidence that man has shown, we're in good standings. I think Danso, I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's done extremely well under De Zerbi. Porro has looked better defensively. And again, we're just going to need, we've seen even the Leeds game, we created so many chances in that first half, but we just can't take them. We just can't take them because of the lack of quality. We need to take these chances and be ruthless. And let's hope that the boys can do it.
Brian, last question for you.
Yes, sir.
I've got a feeling you're going to give me a long answer here. Regardless of what happens on Sunday, and regardless of what division Spurs are in next season, what needs to change at the football club in the summer?
The ownership, Vinay, Lange, it all needs to, I mean, that's wishful thinking. At least Vinay and Lange needs to go. They are incompetent. I saw someone put a tweet out that when we hired Lange and Lange started his career at Spurs, we were top of the league with Jose Mourinho. Now, obviously, we weren't going to finish there. And obviously, we know have the squad or we weren't going to get the backing under Jose, but we were top of the league. And we're now where we are. The recruitment has been shambolic. Medical team. I just hope that for 90 minutes, the fans give everything they've got for the players. But I hope they double down at the end of the game and make sure that Vinay, Lange, Vivian, Charlie, all of them know that they're not wanted at this football club. They've destroyed it. They've ripped it limb from limb. The heritage, the prestige, the elegance, the standards have all been ripped apart and taken away. And we need a major reset. And the only reset will come when these people are out of power. And I just hope De Zerbi can have a summer where he can bring in his choice of director of football. And he does get his way with transfers. Do I think it will happen? No. Do I hope it will? Yes. But I think we'll be doing the same thing over and over again, Chris, whilst Lange, Vinay and the Lewis family have control of Tottenham Hotspur.
But you can't keep doing the same thing, Brian. You have to learn from previous mistakes. And how many times have we spoken on this channel, over the years, you and I, about how many managers that we have had? You cannot keep making the same mistakes. Now, Thomas Frank earlier in the campaign, in many press conferences, said that Spurs were going to be ambitious in the summer. Of course, he's not here. We've gone through Igor Tudor and now Roberto De Zerbi has come in. Surely at some point, they've got to think, we finished 17th last year. We could finish 17th or 18th this year. So regardless of what league we're in, surely Spurs have to show ambition and be ambitious in the summer. Because when you look at some of these teams, when you look even at Aston Villa, when you look at Brighton, when you look at Bournemouth, there are so many teams now. You think, well, they're miles ahead of us.
Yep. Yeah, well, you look at it, Chris. They didn't do anything when we were second in the league and going for titles. They didn't do anything with Harry Redknapp when we had a really big chance with Zaha and Nelson. When we've had Europe on the periphery, they don't care. So it doesn't matter what happens. We hear the same thing, and the same thing happens again. But we keep getting told this time is where we change. You go back to Johan Lang, and a lot of people were going on about, obviously, the injured players coming back. The injured players are coming back line. That wasn't the line that annoyed me the most. The line that got to me the most is when he said, well, there was only 33 transfers in January, and it shows that there wasn't money. Well, we got told we needed this advantage where we could outspend people, so we could strike when there weren't money about. And we didn't do it, and we didn't want to panic buy. If there was ever a time to panic buy and fill that squad up and bloat it, would have been this window, and they just didn't.
Brian, I know I said last question, but I tell you, you know what you and I are like. We could talk about Spurs all day and night. Yeah. Now, 365 days ago, we lived through that moment, that fantastic moment. I've got goosebumps again thinking about it.
Yeah,
that parade was absolutely sensational. Wherever I looked, left, right, up, on bus stops, roofs, wherever it was, people were there with flags, people's faces, the emotion. It was incredible. Now, that was 365 days ago. Where do you see Spurs in 365 days from now?
Oh, Chris, what are you doing to me? Where do I see us in 365 days? Hopefully, making a comeback in the Premier League. And I don't think should we survive, all of a sudden we'll be challenging for top 4 again or top 6. But not to be anywhere near where we are. Tottenham Hotspur should at least be challenging for top 8. I know we've got a long way to go. The squad we've got, and I must admit, what I will say, Chris, as well, when De Zerbi when I last spoke to you, Tudor had just been sacked, and I was very anti-De Zerbi. But the reason I was anti-De Zerbi proved to be what my information was completely wrong. So I took back what I said about him, and I've been watching him, and you can see there is something there.
Yeah.
And you can see that he wants to. I think we've seen something different in every single game. Like the Wolves game, we played horrifically, but we snuck the win. The Brighton game, you can see passages of play that were great, but we switched off a couple of times. So there's been, if this man can get the players he wants in or have a full pre-season, there's no reason why Tottenham should be ever in this situation again under him. And at least in the top 10, challenging back. And it's got to be slowly. But this needs to be, and we've said it all before, the biggest summer that Spurs have had in recent history, or let's just say in Enix's tenure. And let's just hope they do it. But one thing I will say, Chris, as well, that I just wanted to mention with you, you are absolutely spot on, and I could not agree with you more about this whole VAR thing. I honestly, I want VAR gone. I think all 20 or all not 20 teams have been screwed one way or the other. Yes, we can look at that lot down the road and how lenient they've got away with everything.
Yeah.
We always see the relegated team saying things are going against us. And don't get me wrong, there has been, but we are not where we are because of VAR solely. Yeah. There's been poor results, poor style of play, playing players out of position, playing players when they're not fully fit, not rotating, i.e. Spence and Porro all the time to keep them fresh. The VAR has been a disgrace for all 20 teams this season. And yes, we obviously follow Spurs, so it highlights it more. But VAR, look at the Man U Nottingham Forest one with Mbeumo. There's been time after time with absolute nonsense decisions. And I do not fall in the line that we wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for VAR. We are where we are over the last 2 seasons because we've been poor. And this league doesn't lie. VAR hasn't helped, but it's been an abomination for all 20 teams.
Yeah, completely agree. Brian, always great to talk to you.
Always a pleasure, Chris.
Thanks so much for coming on this season many times, and have a good summer.
And you, buddy. I'm going to have the World Cup in my back door, mate. So I'm going to be enjoying it. The kickoff times, everything. Come on, England, and come on, Canada.
Brian, thank you so much.
See you later. Everyone have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Right. We're now going to go to Orchi in Istanbul. Orchi, how are you?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I guess I'm a bit nervous, but at the same time, I don't know. I have reasons to be optimistic, I think. I'm going to be positive this time, Chris.
You know what, Orchi? I just done a Tottenham News episode, and I read some comments out from Alan Shearer. He seems to think, he said it's a tough one to call. He has predicted Spurs Everton as a he's predicted a draw. And then he goes on to talk about the West Ham v Leeds game, and he predicts a West Ham win. He thinks that Spurs are going to survive on goal difference. Danny Murphy, however, former Tottenham Hotspur midfielder, talking on TalkSport, he said, I think West Ham will beat Leeds, and I've got a bad feeling here. I want Tottenham to stay up, but I've got a bad feeling they're going to go. How are you feeling about these games? Because De Zerbi, in a Sky interview, he turned around and said, I don't want to be thinking about the other game. It's about us. And it should be about us, Archie, because when you think that we're going into the game, and I know we said this about the Chelsea game, but we know how we travelled to Chelsea, one win in 36 years. I know it's been tough at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this season, but it's got to be about us. We need a draw. We need a win. We need to finish the season with a win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. How confident are you in this playing group under De Zerbi that we're going to get a win on Sunday?
I think since he's come in, if you look at overall the performances, even going back to Brighton, that's a game that we should have seen out and won, actually, and got all 3 points.
Yeah.
And even the subsequent games, he's definitely had an impact. You can see that in the way that we played. Yes, we've still put in some poor performances. Some of the players haven't exactly, done brilliantly, but we can see a difference since De Zerbi's come in. We have seen, apart from the Chelsea, and arguably, we can sit here and I think it's been argued quite clearly where we should have had a penalty against Chelsea. Chelsea should have had Delap sent off. So there's a number of things went against us against Chelsea. Again, we didn't necessarily play in the second half. I would say we were a bit more better. And we didn't necessarily deserve to win it, but I don't think we deserve to lose it either. So you could argue we could have got that, although we lost against Chelsea, yes. But I think, again, we went there and we could have potentially walked away with the draw that we needed. The last game of the season, and I totally agree. Look, it's at the end of the day, it's in our hands. No matter what happens between West Ham and Leeds tomorrow, all we need is a draw. And we're not playing a team that has got anything to really play for, apart from maybe positions. Now, I want to kind of touch on that. I mean, when you look at the league table, right? Newcastle are 11th, Everton are 12th, Fulham are 13th, and Leeds are 14th. And there's only 2 points separating all of those teams, 49, 49, 49, and 47 Leeds. Now, Newcastle play Fulham at Fulham. And Leeds play, obviously, West Ham. Now, Everton, even if they win tomorrow against us, the maximum they can go up to is 52 points. And I don't think that's going to be enough to get them in, potentially European places. So, look, a lot of those teams, basically, all the teams that are playing in the sort of like the key games, their season's pretty much done. Leeds are safe. Everton are safe. And just concentrating on our game, I do believe, although obviously Moyes has come out and said, I want to help West Ham. I want West Ham to stay up. He's a manager, and it's up to the players that's going to go onto that pitch and do what he says. And we all know that especially on the last game of the season, there'll be a lot of those players who are going to have one mind on holiday. And I don't know enough of the players in the Everton team. I don't know if any of them are going to the World Cup or not.
The thing is, David Moyes also said that he wants to win the game, obviously for the pride to win the match and climb up that Premier League table and finish high up as possible, because any owner of a football club or any board member will be telling that manager to win that game, because the prize money in the Premier League, even like 1 or 2 places ahead, are worth a good couple of £1 million. So it's vital for a football club.
No, I know it's vital, but then will the players look? Imagine you're a professional football player. It's the last game of the season, and the difference is instead of 12th, you end up finishing 11th or 10th. Everton don't have if they won that game, potentially they could go up to like 6th or 7th place. Maybe I can understand, but Everton. Yeah. Even if they win the match against us, they're only going to go up by 1, maybe 2 positions. And yes, that might have, positive implications for the club. But I'm talking about the players themselves. Some of those players who might be going to the World Cup, who might already be named in some World Cup squads. There's going to be other players who are already maybe looking forward to next season, or maybe even looking for a move away. They're not going to want to risk getting an injury, because even if it's a player that is happy where he is and, you know, he's happy, even if he's planning to stay in Everton, he's not going to want to spend the summer on the treatment table. He's going to want to go away on holiday, have a bit of a break, have a bit of a reset. I mean, you know, with all due respect, for Everton, finishing 11th, 12th is probably about where they deserve to be. It's not a bad season for them. It's an okay season for them. And they've had some notable, wins this season. But overall, again, looking at their sort of performance, it's a team that hasn't actually won, I think, since March or April? They haven't actually been, March. So again, I mean, that kind of tells you all you need to know. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, they're going to be up to play. Look, Everton isn't a big rival to us. You know, if it was like, let's say if we were playing West Ham, if we were playing Chelsea, if we were playing Arsenal, if we were playing or even like a team like Manchester United or Liverpool, or, you know, any one of those teams those players are going to be more motivated to, you know, potentially beat Spurs and send them down. I don't get the feeling like Everton's never been one of our big rivals. And it's a team that we have a good record against them, as far as my memory serves me right.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, and as I said,
And the other thing, Ulchi, is that Roberto De Zerbi has managed Spurs twice at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, you know, obviously managing Spurs. And we were very unlucky not to win both of those games. So is this going to be third time lucky for him? You know, do you think that are you confident the Spurs are going to get this job done?
I think so. I think because, look, at the end of the day, it's one game. And as long as we don't lose, you know, whether we draw, whether we win, and I'm not saying he's going to go for the draw. He's going to pump those players up to win that game. Now, I'm also really happy that Solanke's past fit, because again, that gives us a bit more options. Because the last few games, he hasn't had Solanke, so he had to play. I think we can all agree, Moani hasn't been. His better games have been actually in Europe, but in the Premier League, he hasn't been very effective for us. His decision making. I mean, yes, he can do a few. His footwork is actually really good. He's good at getting past players, but his final decision, his final delivery is awful. But you know, De Zerbi has had no other choice but to start him in the absence of, especially since Solanke's been injured. Whereas now, for example, tomorrow he could drop Kolo Muani on the bench and start with a front three of Richarlison, Tell, and Solanke in the middle. I think that's another positive. That gives us another dimension of possible options in the way we set up. But at the end of the day, I think all the players are going to be fired up. I think knowing that as long as we don't lose that game, and our previous last couple of games at home, where, as you said, we've been unlucky to lose. And I think he's going to be, De Zerbi's the kind of manager who can get those players pumped up, to really, he's just going to say, look, go out there, win the game, and we're safe. That's it. It doesn't matter what happens in the other team. And what you also got to bear into consideration is, hopefully, if we start strong, if we start well and we score like one goal, or maybe even, let's say, we go 1 up, 2 up in the first half, and we're playing strong and we're playing well, and it's just one-way traffic. Obviously, the other team are going to have their eye on our game as well, and that's going to be, they're going to be like, okay, we have no option but to go for it. But also, they're going to get disheartened in a way. Like, if imagine you're West Ham players and you're fighting, you're trying to score. At the end of the day, if you hear that, oh, Tottenham are 1-0 up, 2-0 up against Everton in the first half, you're going to be like, oh, there you go. That's game over, potentially. I'm just saying, at least to some of those players, because we've seen, West Ham aren't exactly, yes, they've got some good players going forward, but they are vulnerable in defense. They have got players that can make mistakes. They have got players that can, lose their heads and maybe their heads drop. So, there's a lot of permutations there, but I'm honestly optimistic, because I do believe that both Leeds and Everton don't really, apart from, like you say, maybe potentially going up by another position or 2 positions in the league. Now, some players in those teams are going to care about that. They would want to finish strongly, but I don't believe that all 11 or all 15 or the whole squad is going to be fight, because some of those players are going to be worried, because some of those players are going to be, potentially in a couple of weeks' time, they're going to be playing in the World Cup, or they're going to be going on their summer holidays. And I don't think they're going to want to risk themselves where, it's not going to be so. I've got a feeling I could so see tomorrow both West Ham and Tottenham winning, but obviously because we win, we will automatically stay up.
Also, I mentioned earlier, it's the 1 year anniversary of the parade outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The players parading the Europa League trophy. Now, the night before the Europa League final, how did you feel? And how are you feeling now? Does it feel the same? Does it feel different? Does it feel like a cup final to you?
Yeah, definitely. I had the same kind of nervousness. I had the same, but I also had belief, because you kind of look at the way we got to that final and on the sort of the journey there. And well, this time, obviously, we haven't had a very positive like this. I would say definitely since De Zerbi's come in, I have been a lot more confident that we're going to stay up because of the results and because of the way, not just the results, but the way we've played in those games. We should have beaten Brighton. We should have, got more wins under our belt. But, refereeing, that's the only thing, I've got to be honest with you. That's the only thing that makes me nervous. Like tomorrow, again, some dodgy decisions, some bad decisions by referees is the one thing that could derail us. But in terms of effort, in terms of potential win, I think De Zerbi is going to get them motivated enough to go out there and really express themselves and do their best. It's the last game of the season. You're in front of your own crowd. It's going to be 60,000 Spurs fans there. Everybody's, I'm sure, it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. I think the fans are going to get behind the team. They're going to cheer them on. And just like how you said, I think, those players, hopefully most of them will have goosebumps. That will give them another edge to really go out there and just hopefully batter Everton and, get a result like 2-0, 3-0 win. And then we don't even have to worry about Everton. But yeah, I believe that we could win because, I think this time last year, both Spurs and Manchester United were very similar in their performances, in, their overall kind of where they were. And I believe that we could beat them, and we did end up beating them. It was a close game, obviously. They had their chances. But, I believe that we could win, and I definitely believe that we will stay up tomorrow. That's my honest opinion. And
Scott, sorry, Ulchi, I was going to say, Scott from the US says here, that was a lifetime ago. John says on YouTube, 9 possible outcomes. Only one sends us down. Please, Dr. Tottenham, have a day off. Now, those 9 possible outcomes are as follows. Spurs win and West Ham lose. Spurs win and West Ham draw. Spurs win and West Ham win. Those are all fine. Spurs draw and West Ham lose. Spurs draw and West Ham draw. Spurs draw and West Ham win. All of those are fine. And then Spurs lose, West Ham lose. Spurs lose and West Ham draw. They're not fine, but they would see us through and we will be a Premier League team. The only one outcome that would be an absolute disaster. It would be unthinkable, really, of if Spurs lose and West Ham win. Ulchi, anything else you'd like to add before you go?
Yeah, well, I think some of the guys, you were talking about the changes in the club and things like that. I don't know if you saw it, Chris, but there's an article that came out in Sky Sports yesterday about the changes that is going on, how the Tottenham hierarchy are changing the club. I don't know if you saw that, but just to touch on that. Now, I know there's a sense of we've heard a lot of this before, but I was just finding it interesting that they claim that they did 2 different studies and they found, they are basically pretty much saying that they found that obviously what was done in last summer's transfer window, was disappointing to the owners as well. The Lewis, the kids who are essentially running the club now, Joe Lewis's kids, because they've got a family trust and it's actually his children and his son-in-law who are in charge of running the club. And apparently, supposedly, according to this article, that's why, for example, they decided to let go of Levy as well, because they saw that, they saw some losses, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, the interesting part is, I've said in previous shows that once tomorrow's done and we stay in the Premier League, I think, we said that they need to look at this seriously about the hierarchy. Now, I saw that they brought in this guy called Lewindon, and he's from the City Group, the City Sports Group. Now, I think they reached an agreement with him, according to this article, in October. But he's only just started his position recently because he had to serve out a notice period. Now, apparently, under the new setup, the medical team and the the medical and performance coaches, etc., teams are going to report directly to him. So, I mean, it does look like, again, it kind of looks like a bit of a puff piece, promoting what's being done by the club, supposedly. So I'll take it with a pinch of salt, but it makes for good reading anyway. And I like the fact that also, just to add on to that, it seems very likely that hopefully once we secure our, position in the Premier League after tomorrow, it looks like we already have 2 players coming in, both with Andy Robertson. It's been widely reported that, they've had an agreement. It all depends on whether we stay in the Premier League or not. And also, more importantly, Bournemouth Senesi, which is he's a highly regarded defender. A lot of clubs are after him. And again, it's widely reported that he's pretty much agreed terms with Spurs and he's going to sign, hopefully, if we're in the Premier League. Now, add to that, obviously, Vuskovic, who's set he's up for one of the players of the season in the Bundesliga. So he's going to be coming back in the summer. And if we can just sort out this, if we really are truly going to sort out our medical team, and make sure that we're not getting these injuries, these long-term injuries and recoveries that are, because we spent the whole season without our best players, Maddison, Kulusevski, obviously Kudus has now been out for a while and he's reportedly going to be out till probably end of autumn. People are talking like October, November time. So if we can that's another area that we really seriously need to sort out, our recruitment and also our medical team. If we can get those 2 things right in the summer, and with De Zerbi, and I love the fact that De Zerbi came out yesterday and in the last few days, all the interviews that I've seen of him, he's talking about how he knows what he needs to do. So he hasn't even started on that. He's giving that impression where he knows. It gives me the impression that he knows who the players that he wants for next season. He knows who the deadwood are. He knows what needs to be done at the club to turn things around. But obviously, right now, the priority is, Premier League survival. So even he seems to kind of give the indication that he knows the work that he's got to do over the summer to get this club set up in a way so that next season, not only do we not have a season like this again, but hopefully we're definitely going to be in a position where potentially we could be challenging for things. We could be challenging for maybe another cup or, domestic cup. And the fact is we're not going to have any European football. So we're going to have, apart from when the cup competitions are in, the domestic cup competitions are in, we're going to have game a week. So I'm actually really optimistic. Hopefully, let's get the job done tomorrow. And I've got a feeling that next season we might surprise a few people with all these changes. And with a manager like De Zerbi, he's probably going to bring in some more coaches, his own staff, and he's really going to, take this club, have the pre-season to whip people into shape and, get his style, get his ideology across, and recruitment-wise, recruit the kind of players that are going to take us hopefully to some new levels, back to kind of like maybe the peak Pochettino days and better, hopefully.
I completely agree, Ulchi, and I hope you're right.
It's going to be a big summer for us. Obviously, it's a World Cup summer as well, but it's going to be a huge summer for Tottenham. And we've got to get it right. We can't have a season like this again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ulchi, thank you so much for your time today.
We're staying up today. We're going to win. We're going to win tomorrow. We're winning tomorrow.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. But thanks so much for your time throughout this season. Cheers. I appreciate it.
Love to everyone.
Cheers. Right, we're now going to go to Canada to speak to John. John, how are you?
Well, it's nice to see Brian in Toronto on here as well. So that was great. 2 Canadians.
Have you met him?
Oh, yes, I met him.
Yeah.
He hangs around the pub in Toronto and whatnot. He was a mutual friend. It was a mutual friend of former president of Spurs Ottawa who passed away sadly last year. So yes, I know Brian.
How are you feeling, John?
Apprehensive.
Yeah.
The championship still hangs there like the sword of Damocles, isn't it? It's sitting there. And if all goes badly, we're going to have great games at Charlton and Queen's Park Rangers and wonderful trips to Lincoln City and play home games in the Mausoleum, none of which we want. So tomorrow we need to win. I'm nervous about that totally. Whether I'm going to watch it or not, I won't. I didn't watch the Chelsea game simply because I was that apprehensive, and the Gouda in my life took me to the park. So I have every hope tomorrow we will be up. By this time tomorrow, we'll be celebrating another season in the Premier League. In the summer, like everybody says, we've got to have a clear out.
You just mentioned the word celebrating. Will you be celebrating if we stay up?
Yeah, I will have a beer. And I've actually got to go to a 50th anniversary afterwards. So I'll have a beer there. I'm not going to walk into a couple of United fans, which won't please me, but okay. Yeah, I will celebrate that we survived, right? We survived. And if that's the case, then we survived. It's been a season of if onlys, isn't it? If only they hadn't have scored that second goal right on the final minute against us at Tottenham. When Wilson was shoving our goalkeeper, and nobody was shoving him. And if that had ended 1-1 and not 2-1 to Wetspan, we would be safe now.
Yeah, that was certainly the turning point for them to go on on their run, because back in January we were 13 points above West Ham. Yeah. John, in Sunday's game against Everton, who are going to be the heroes? Because I spoke a little bit about James Maddison earlier on in the show. We are lacking creativity, and Orchie mentioned there about the players that we have been missing all season. Kulusevski been out for over a year now. James Maddison's only just returned. Mohamed Kudus, of course, he showed real promise at the start of the campaign, but of course we've been really missing his creativity in the final third. Of course, we sold Brennan Johnson as well in the January transfer window. Who do you think is going to be the heroes? Because I also said as well that we kind of just need to forget about these 37 games and treat this like a one-off cup final. Just get the job done on Sunday. But who do you feel confident about of delivering?
Well, as an old central defender, I looked to Van der Ven and the other lad there we got. I do hope that they play stoic games and keep everybody out. And then everybody else has got to put their shoulder to the wheel and go for it. And if we don't, then we've only ourselves to blame. Solidification at the back first to start with, please, and then go for it. I'm hoping Solanke will start.
Yep.
Okay. Richarlison scored at Chelsea, I understand. He missed a sitter against Leeds. We talk, those they are not replacements or for Harry Kane and Heung-min Son and etc. Okay, though that's in the past, we need these people today now to stand up. Tell, I am hoping, will come through. I wasn't impressed when we got him from Burnley. I'm not impressed with him now. He hasn't really set the world on fire. I do accept that goal he scored against Leeds, and I do hope that we can expect a bit more from him tomorrow. And he will come through as well. But that's where we're at. I think, I will walk away with 1-1 tomorrow and be thankful.
That's actually my prediction, John, a 1-1 draw. Can I ask you about, you're one of our older guests that come on here.
Yes.
Can I ask you about the last time Spurs were relegated back in 1977 under Keith Birkinshaw? What was that like?
Well, I was in Alberta, and I didn't know about it until the Tuesday because we didn't have very much coverage and etc. in those days. And I got an awful lot of stick from a lot of other expats who were an awful lot of joy and delight over it, especially those who had come from the north of England and were really pleased to see us go. And it was getting any information during that time was difficult, but I sort of struggled, etc. I remember more coming back up with my. I couldn't find out the result of the last game of the season and did we come back up again. And I remember phoning my mother to find out when international calls cost a bundle. And she told me the wonderful news. I don't know, dear. I'll drop you a line. And I didn't find out we'd come back until the Tuesday or the Wednesday then. When I came to Ontario, we got soccer made it. We got a game a week late, so we were back in contact. But it was it's a depressing time. I mean, I can remember the 58-59 season. I was about 10 or 11, and we hung on there, and we should have gone down. We had every chance we were going to go down then. That was Bill Nicholson's first season, and Portsmouth went down and Luton went down, and those are things to remember in your brain. So the seasons of desperation stay there, and the seasons of elation stay there. There's an awful lot in between where it was just another season. We won't forget this one, will we?
I want to forget it. I tell you what, I don't think I've ever felt like I just want the season done with as much as this one. This one has been really, really tough in so many ways.
It's been
John,
tough.
before you go, anything else you want to add?
No, thank you guys. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, you and all the other guys on this channel. I'm always pleased to chat to you and always grateful for all you do. And I'm going to chat to Orchie about coming to Istanbul sometime soon.
That's it. We'll get a free holiday to Orchie's.
Well, I wouldn't do that, but I'd like to, have a chat with him. Anyway, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Colin. Appreciate everything. Chris, sorry.
You called me every name but.
I forget names now. It's terrible.
I'll get called worse. Don't worry about it.
Thanks very much for everything. Take care. Come on in Spurs.
Cheers, Fred. Right, we're now going to go to Noel. Noel, how are you?
I'm good, Chris. Yourself?
Yeah.
Well, I'm very nervous, Chris. I'm as nervous as a cat, and I can see it in you as well. And I think I'm experiencing exactly what you're experiencing right now. All I'm thinking tomorrow, obviously you're going to be there, but they're going to be the Sky Sports commentator, and said, "Oh, Tottenham Hotspur have been relegated." This is going over in my mind. Hopefully not, but they will be delighted, because it's a big story. So I am nervous, still positive though, because it's in our own hands. I said it to you a couple of weeks ago that we would beat Aston Villa, which we did. And a lot of people didn't think we would. And the Chelsea match to me was very, very, very disappointing. And without going into too much about VAR, but I mean, the week before when West Ham were actually scored against Arsenal in the last minute, the one that they fouled on the goalkeeper, the referee looked at that on the screen for 17 times. With us, we got, if ball isn't in play on. I mean, the inconsistency is just incredible.
Well, I think the only thing that's consistent now is the 17, because I think it was about 17 seconds that he looked at.
That's what I'm talking about, Chris. That's what I'm talking about. Exactly.
Yeah.
There was they looked at it for 10, I think it was actually, it says 20 seconds. And yet with the Arsenal match, they could send the referee to the screen and look at it for 17 times.
Yeah.
That really pisses me off, and I was really pissed off. And, the lap, mightn't have made any difference. He broke a guy's jaw and the referee gives him a yellow card, so the inconsistencies, and I think you're right. I think every club has suffered, but I think Spurs have really been put through the ringer this year with VAR. But look, that's done. Tomorrow is one opportunity, and I can see actually what De Zerbi will do. He'll get all those guys in the dressing room and he'll say, "Okay, lads, at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, you want to be standing on that pitch in front of 62,000 people that come from all over the world, people that spend an awful lot of their hard-earned money to watch you play. Do you want to be part of that squad that relegated Tottenham Hotspur, or do you want to go out of there with your head held high? The decision is yours." And I think that's all he has to say. So to me, the big positive is that it's in our own hands. But, I'm nervous, Chris. I am nervous. And I'm a positive person, so I'll cling on to that positivity. That we can get the job done.
No, I'm sorry to put you on the spot here, right? But if you were in the dressing room,
Yeah.
5 minutes before the game,
Yes.
and you could have 2 minutes talking to these players with their full attention, what would you say to them?
Exactly what I'm with you after saying. Exactly. Stand up. This is your opportunity. This is okay. They'll move on somewhere else, but the people, the fans, this is their passion. This is their life. People get on to me about, it's only a game of football. Why do you get so upset about it? Why do you get so worked up about it? This is what we live for. It's our club. And that's the message that I would be getting across. Do you want to let all these people down? Do you know how much these people spend to come and watch you play? Do you want to go out as winners or do you want to go out as losers? I think that's the only message that you can get. And I think that's the message. It's a very simple message, Chris, but, it's the most effective one. But, the thing that annoys me a bit, about Spurs sometimes, I think that some of the players not that clever, I don't know if they're dim or something. Some of their decision making is questionable. And, and I know it's panic and, they make a lot of, bad decisions. But, keep it tight. Don't be doing anything stupid. Don't be giving penalties away. No red cards, no silly bookings. Well, you make it an odd booking, it's not going to matter after tomorrow. No red cards, no rash challenges in the penalty area. Don't give the referee an excuse to give a decision against you. Because in the last couple of games, the referees were handing out cards to Tottenham players like confetti. And, some of the challenges that other teams were putting in and they just walked away from it. It's incredible. I go back to the Sunderland game. Like, Robbie should have been, yellow carded in the first 10 minutes. Romero does the same challenge 10 minutes later. He's yellow carded. And then Robbie's on a yellow card, which should have been a red. He pushes Romero into the goalkeeper and he stays on the pitch. So don't give the referees any excuse at all. And, a nervy 90 minutes, get through it, and we're still a Premier League team. And then, the bloodletting then can start because, there's going to have to be an awful lot of hard decisions taken and a lot of hard questions asked. And, I wouldn't like to be standing there trying to answer some of them, to be quite honest with you. I think a lot of people bear a lot of responsibility for where we are. Chris, reality is, we've only, we were 17th last season, and the only reason we didn't go down was there was 3 teams worse than us, that the relegation was confirmed.
Yeah.
This time, the thing that encourages me is, that we've got 8 points. Like West Ham haven't had no points from the last 3 games, and we're still in this position. If De Zerbi hadn't have come in, we would have been below the waterline now, and we wouldn't have been having this conversation now. We'd be just, wishing it was over.
Completely agree.
But Chris, I, the old people used to say, that they look for a quick death. I have actually feeling, my father used to say, that some people die by inches, and I'm feeling that this has sucked the life out of us all season. And tomorrow, I'm actually looking forward to 6 o'clock. Get it over with. Hopefully, we will do it, and get it done. And I don't think there'll be an awful lot. I think it'll be more a sense of relief rather than the celebration. I don't think there's anything to celebrate. But I will have a beer tomorrow by all means. That's the way I'm feeling, Chris.
Now, lastly, talk to me about how you feel when Spurs play and don't perform as they should, and particularly this season of the amount of defeats and the fashion and the manner that we have lost games. Because you mentioned there, someone said to you, it's only football, but it means a lot more to us. And
absolutely, it's our passion, Chris. It's passion. It's your club. I've said this to you many times. I've been following Tottenham since 1967. And, it really pisses me off when I see something stupid. When I see, games that we have thrown away, bad mistakes, bad decisions, some of the ones that come to mind, the Vicario goal against, the one against Fulham, the amount of games that we have actually conceded the amount of home games that we have lost. I mean, to have only won 2 home games all season is an absolute. It's disgraceful. It is nothing short of being disgraceful. I mean, I said to you before, you know, at the last season at White Hart Lane, they won 17 out of 19 and drew the other 2. Decision making, red cards, indiscipline. Going back to my buddy Romero, you know, I've said this to you so many times. I've been so critical of him. He gets 9 yellow cards this season. Some of them a bit unjustified because he only has to look at a player and the referee will give him a yellow card. But been sent off 2 times and you know, and missing 7 games, and then talking himself into another game of a suspension. And Chris, I was listening earlier on. Is he at the match tomorrow or is he not? I wasn't sure what you were saying there.
So basically, Noel, the latest is in the last couple of hours, he's posted a picture of himself getting a haircut
in London,
at a barber's in London. So you would hope and you would think now that Romero will be attending the game, of course, after all of the backlash. But it's pretty obvious after, you know, the statement I read earlier from his agent, it was pretty obvious that he was going to stay in Argentina. But I've absolutely no doubt with all of the backlash that he has received, that he's probably either been told or probably thought, I've got to go back there. But funny enough, as I'm talking to you, a friend of mine has just sent me a screen grab of a post from Steve Perryman. He's with Mark Falco, Ozzy Ideas and Ricky Villa. And he says here on his post on Facebook, a few days away with the chaps before a crucial game tomorrow, come on you Spurs, from a concerned ex-captain. Now, I said a couple of days ago when all this Romero situation come out about him, he was going to go to the game on Sunday, this Argentinian match. You know, what other previous captain would do this? You know, you should only ever have one thing on your mind. You're the captain of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. You should be there regardless. So this whole situation, I feel like, is a bit of a mess because the fans are, you know, pretty annoyed, and rightly so.
Well, Chris, I have a theory about it. I think he wanted to stay in Argentina because, you know, he's hedging his bets, you know, that there's a 50% chance that we go down. And I think he took the cowardly way out. He didn't want to be on that pitch or anywhere in that stadium when the poo-poo would hit the fan, literally. And, you know, it shows to me that he puts on the pitch, he puts himself out to be a hard man. But at the end of the day, I hate using the word coward. I think it's an awful word, but I see him as a coward, as the way he has played, and as a captain of Tottenham Hotspur this season, to have 9 yellow cards and 2 red cards, and he single-handedly is one of the main reasons why Tottenham are in this position. He's your captain. Other players, you know, he's our captain. What example is it? You know, captains lead by example. You know, they grab the game and other players by the scruff of the neck. Some people need, you know, an arm around the shoulder. Some people need a bollocking. I go back to the Roy Keane, Graham Roberts type. Could you imagine Graham Roberts not being at the match tomorrow? Steve Perryman, you know,
putting that shirt on now, and seeing that Tottenham logo on your chest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should be a privilege, and he should be very proud to wear that football shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's disappointing, but it's been a disappointing season for so many reasons. But
no, just get it over. Chris, can I just say it to you?
Go on.
I just want to thank you and Craig, Ricky, all the regulars, you know, Si, who have met, for all your inputs over the years, but in the past year, under very difficult circumstances. I've seen you, working away there, you know, when there's nothing to be cheering about, and you know, I actually personally look forward to all your content, and you know, hopefully that you keep it up for many seasons to come. And I was glad, you know, that you invited me to be part of it, and I really hope that I made some sort of a contribution to it. And tomorrow, you know, get the job done, look back, and make sure this never happens again.
Yeah, well said. And thanks so much for all of your support. Now you're a legend. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And hopefully by this time tomorrow, we're still in the Premier League, and lots of lessons have to be learned.
Yeah, fingers crossed. No, have a good weekend. I'll speak soon.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, we're now going to go to Steve in the Czech Republic. Steve, how are you?
Hi, Chris. About as nervous as everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm actually started drinking a bit early. I know the game doesn't. No, I'm only kidding. It's just one beer with my dinner, but no, nervous. Yeah, very nervous.
Steve, let's start by talking about Anthony Kinski. Of course, we've spoken many times about Kinski with you. You've been in the Czech Republic. What have you made of his performances? Have you been surprised by his good performances, particularly after that incident away at Atletico Madrid with Igor Tudor bringing him off? And who do you think will start the game against Everton? Do you think Vicario will come back in, or will Kinski keep his spot?
Yeah, to answer the first part of your question, I was very surprised, because not only was I thinking that the team wouldn't want him to play again, but that he himself would like to sort of disappear and, go out on loan after that. So that was really unbelievable, sense of character that he managed to, fight his way back to get back into the side as well. And the performances have been excellent. I do think with the first goal last week against Chelsea from distance, I do think he was unsighted by Danso. He saw it very late. He dived late. So I wouldn't. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, we should have stopped it." And I generally don't think that that he could see it until very late. So I'm happy with him. I knew before, or other fans know now, that his kicking is excellent. I generally feel, again, like a lot of fans, that he's stabilised the defence, that they're confident under him because he's not rushing. If you've got someone behind you, a keeper who's nervous, who's not very good with his feet, it just spreads to the whole of the bloody defence. I think he will start tomorrow. I hope he starts tomorrow. I really will be unhappy and very unsure if Vicario comes back in. It would have been nice to give Vicario like a swan song if we'd have been safe. And I think perhaps maybe they would have done either one half each. But under the circumstances now, no, I would leave Kinski where he is, to be honest.
Steve, give me some score predictions for Sunday.
It's pretty early, mate. I've obviously been going over my head like everyone else, going over it, and you can go over these things until the cows come on. I think we'll get a draw. They've been drawing games. Okay, they've been losing games, but what went on in the past is neither here nor there. But I just think we will get a draw. How we get it, obviously, I don't know. But I think West Ham will win. And I think it's going to be a nervy last sort of 10, 15 minutes, to be honest. But I think we will stay up. I'm not using the word beginning with R either. But what I would like to see, if I can go on to, so that's my prediction for the scores, we will stay up, is I would like to, if Maddison can only play 15, 20, 25 minutes, I'd like to see him start, because we need a good start. It's like people have alluded to earlier on, that if we go behind, which we have quite often done at home, it's a nightmare, because it kills, the wind's out of the sail of the fans. But if we get that early goal, or maybe two, as someone said as well, then the fans it'll be like a cauldron. It will really, we'll really have a good chance. So if not Maddison, I would like to see Bergvall or Gray. I know Gallagher is a big De Zerbi is a big fan of Gallagher, and he's a stalwart. But they all seem there's not really any creativity there. I mean, obviously, know that Bentancur and Paulino are stopping the play generally, and Bentancur to a bit more extent starting attacks, moving. But he's been excellent, by the way, Bentancur, most of the time. I'd just like to see someone with a bit of creativity, like I'm saying. So for me, I'm a big fan of Bergvall, and I like Archie Gray. He's never really put a foot wrong. To add a bit of speed to the attack, because it all seems a bit slow. I don't know what you think about that. I don't really want to see Richie. I've had some terrible thoughts about what Richie might do, and I'm not going to say it on the apart from missing simple chances, he's, I'm just. But then again, maybe Solanke will come back in. What do you think about striker, the main striker?
Well, it's interesting, Steve. Like I said earlier, I don't think De Zerbi likes to make many changes, and he's kept the same team for the last three games. But when you've got someone like Solanke up there, this is one of my biggest issues with the forward line. When you've got Tell, who I think I'm not going to diss Tell because I think that his attitude is absolutely brilliant, and I just think that he is a young player who needs to learn the game, and I think that when he does that, he'll be a decent player. Colin Mwani and Richarlison, the amount of times that they've missed opportunities, although Richarlison has scored, a good amount of goals for us this year, it needs to be better. So I would actually put Solanke in the starting 11, but as De Zerbi said in the pre-match presser, he will feature, but he doesn't know whether it's going to be from the bench or whether it's going to be from the off. But that decision as well of bringing Maddison on, with 20, 25 minutes to go, if Spurs are struggling for creativity like we did on Tuesday, that is a really good option. Maddison does excite, and we know that, he can deliver. And, Maddison could end up being the hero. He could end up being the one that gets the winner.
He could, Chris, but just imagine, not only like yourself and all the rest of the fans all around the world and at the game, if we're like 1-0 down, God forbid, with like 20 odd minutes to go, and we bring on Maddison and he's trying to create a little bit like I did against Chelsea, and he's not taking it, or that free kick, and you're thinking, okay, come on, Maddison, and it goes into row X. It's like the nerves. I don't know about anybody else. I'd rather see him come on and try us getting in a winning position, but obviously, De Zerbi knows what he's doing, so he's going to do it. He's going to play him as and when he sees is necessary. Can I just make a quick mention to a very old, good friend of mine who's a Spurs fan, who's in hospital in Prague. He's just had a tumour removed. It's all well and good now. And he joked, actually, and said, at least I'm in the right place for the game tomorrow if my blood pressure starts to go up. I couldn't believe it. He's still sort of, thinking about the game. Obviously, he's been a fan since the 1960s. So, that's Glenn Schwartz. Big up to you, mate.
Yeah, best wishes to you, Glenn. Yeah,
just want to say that for
no, best wishes to Glenn. Steve, you mentioned Archie Gray there. Archie Gray has won all 3 awards at the Supporters Trust. The official Supporters Club event. Player of the season, the One Hotspur Player of the season, and the Junior One Hotspur Player of the season. So all 3 trophies go to Archie Gray. Do you agree with that? Were there any other standout players for you that should have perhaps been on this trophy list?
No, I agree with it. He's been outstanding for every manager he's played for, and obviously in all the positions that he's played. I do think, because there's a lot of clubs are looking to take him off our hands if things go pear-shaped. He's an extremely good player. I don't understand a lot of fans dissing him. He is a bit lightweight, but he is extremely good under pressure, especially when he plays in the defensive half of the field. He's for his age, he's got an old head on young shoulders. I really like Archie Gray. I think he's thoroughly deserved. He's consistent. He's very, very consistent. I can't remember him having a bad game compared with a lot of the other, the other players. But I would, I do like Bergvall. He gives a lot of energy. He just needs his final ball. It seems to be lacking in a lot of our players this season. I think that final ball. You think about Tell and Mwani, Richarlison's passes can be horrendous. So I'd like to see a bit of energy there. But I do think that De Zerbi will probably go with Gallagher. He likes Gallagher. It just seems a bit slow to me, but I don't know what you think about Gallagher. He got a great goal that time, but not a lot else for me.
I think we need to see more performances like we did away at Aston Villa.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, bossing that midfield. I just think the midfield's it's not got any hasn't got any creativity, as we know. So it's a little bit flat for me. I'd like to see someone with a bit more energy than him, but I think it all boils down to a good start. Really, it's all in the lap of the gods. yeah, we just need a strong start, I think. Yeah, so that's basically what I think about it. Yeah, it's going to be nervy.
Yeah, it will certainly be nervy. It will be a very, very nervy day, I think, for us on Sunday. But like you said, if we can get off to a really good start and get ahead and get the fans feeling good, early on, I think that will be key. Steve, thanks so much for joining me today, and thanks so much for joining me the many hours that we've spoken over this season.
You're more than welcome. I just want to reiterate what Noel was saying from Ireland. I always look forward to your programs. It was really nice to meet you a couple of times at the stadium last season. We went on to win that European trophy. You're always very professional and unbiased, opinion, very careful what you say. You don't jump the gun. So really, really appreciate the program, and I enjoy coming on and especially to the other guys on the program that you have on a regular basis, whose names escape me at the moment. I'm getting as bad as what's his name in Canada, whose name escapes me as well.
We're all getting old, Steve. That's the problem.
You're probably too young for Mr. Magoo. Sorry?
We're all getting old. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think it's the nerves and this strong. Actually, just last thing. This is from the hometown. I can't advertise it anyway. This is from the hometown of Anton Kinski. It's the best lager in the world.
What's it called?
Pilsner. Because he was born in Pilsner. He lived in Pilsner. His parents live in Pilsner, which is about a half an hour drive from Prague. I'll try and meet up with him one of these days. Get an interview for you.
That's it. Right, Steve.
All right, mate. Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
Crossed. I reckon we'll draw. We're staying up.
Good. I love the positivity.
Let's be having it. Enjoy the show a lot.
See you soon. Cheers, Steve.
All the best.
Right, we're now going to go to our good friend Lee. Lee, are you feeling positive?
Hi, Colin.
Any other names? Go for it.
Am I feeling positive? No, not feeling positive, but I echo what a lot of the other guys said, that I'm not actually even nervous. I just want the game to happen now. I think for many reasons this season has to come to an end, statement of the obvious, but I'm trying to be philosophical about it. But I feel strangely positive. I don't think we're a good team. I think that's obvious, but we've shown a bit of fight and we've shown some guts, and the Chelsea game was not great, but we kept going. So I'm not expecting us to suddenly do anything magical tomorrow, but I think and hope that we've just got enough to get over the line.
I think when Craig does the podcast after the Everton game on Sunday, I think he's going to ask the guests on that show their favourite moment of the season and your worst moment of the season. Lee, if I was to ask you that question, I suppose for me, probably the moments that stick out for me, the Manchester City away game at the start of the season, I think it was the second game in. I thought it was a really decent performance. And the Aston Villa away game a couple of weeks ago, that was certainly up there, particularly with the fans, the way that the fans were that night. Sensational. Didn't stop singing from minute one until the players went down the tunnel at the end of the match. Worst moments of the season for me, I think one of them has to be the defeat at home against West Ham. All of the booing at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium under multiple different managers, Thomas Frank, Igor Judah. And probably one of the best moments of the season is Roberto De Zerbi coming in, actually, and getting that win. That first one for 118 days. But yeah, there have been a lot. I could probably sit here all afternoon talking about worst moments of the season. There have been a lot. What are yours?
Best moments, not technically in the season, but the first half of the Super Cup was pretty, that was false hope, false dawns. This is a bit showboaty, but there was a moment in the second or third game where there was Vicario playing a long ball out to Kudos on the right, and he did that. So he controlled it with round the back. I don't know what it was. It was like a Rabona control thing.
He put one foot around the other. Yeah. Control it. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Which didn't go anywhere or do anything, but I think it's that sort of the Spurs fans in us where we just that bit of glory where I got so excited when I saw that just because of the sort of ridiculous nature of it. From a game point of view, yeah, I think Villa, for me, the two worst moments, one, not just with the benefit of hindsight, but Tudor, the minute I just heard about that and started researching him, really started to think, this doesn't sound like a good idea. And then I think it's not a football moment, but we talked about this the last time I was on the show. Anytime we go to VAR, like just that awful fit. And again, I was watching the game on my phone on holiday on Tuesday, and it's like they didn't even go to VAR. Like it was anything VAR related for us this year has been an absolute stink bomb, and it's just really, it's an awful feeling where you either think it's going to go to VAR, which means we're not going to get it, or it's not going to VAR, which means that we probably deserved it.
Yeah. Lee, if I was to ask you for some score predictions tomorrow, what are you going for? Do you even care about the West Ham game, or is your mindset just on Tottenham?
I think the last guest probably nailed it. I could see us drawing 1-1. I can't see there being loads of goals just because we don't score loads of goals. So if it's a draw, maybe a nervy draw 1-1, and I could see West Ham winning, but Leeds results, not just their second half against us, but they've had some great results and they're safe. So there's definitely a version of it where Leeds could win, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a draw for us and a win for them. I think the only thing for all our sakes is that, hopefully, like everyone said, we just get off to a decent enough start. But it's impossible now to ignore that the crowd you're gonna know what the score is as it happens, aren't you? Just because of the nature of things. So I'm not going to be watching split screen or anything like that. But
yeah,
but I think we're going to go. I think we're going to get over the line. I don't think it's just wishful thinking, but I think it's in our own hands, and I think we are at least showing some guts.
Lee, I don't know whether you heard what I said about this whole Christian Romero situation, about him posting on Instagram in the last couple of hours with him being back in London having a haircut. But a number of people are saying that these are old photographs. I don't know why Romero would be posting old photographs, making people believe that he's back in London. But, I don't know more than that at the moment. So let's wait and see whether he's at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or not. In my opinion, and I've said this all along, the captain, anyone associated with a football club should be there, especially a captain, because he should be there. It's his job to be there. Can I ask you about the gathering outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday before the Everton game, because this happened before before the Forest game. If you were a player, do you feel excited about that? Do you feel better about things knowing that your supporters are there outside the stadium with flares and egging you on and saying, come on, get this done? And do you feel more support as a player, looking at all of that as the coach goes down, through White Hart Lane and round, into the stadium? What do you think that the players are feeling seeing that?
I'm not sure about it. And it's a bit of a strange anomaly because I associate it with like certain teams, either Italian teams, or I know when City played Liverpool a bunch of times in recent years, particularly Liverpool, they seem to really did it. And as far as I could make out, they really did it as a sort of intimidation factor for the away team. It was to show the away team, right, you're in our backyard, it's like red smoke everywhere. I don't know for us. I mean, it sounds like De Zerbi wanted it, if that's correct. But what we never know with our beloved team is whether mentally does this boost their confidence or does it pile pressure on? Like we just have no way of knowing that. But I think if we'd never done it for Forest, I don't know what happened that day, but there was just something not right. When I heard we were going to do it for tomorrow, I thought, you know what? Why not? Like, can it really hurt? I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you're there, but are you in the ground by that point, or are you sort of going to be there?
No, I was there last time, Lee, and I tell you what, the atmosphere was absolutely brilliant, and it actually felt like being back at the parade, which was of course exactly 1 year ago today. But at that time, I thought, wow, if these players aren't up for this game against Nottingham Forest, which was a key game at that point, I thought, if these players aren't going to be up for it, after this is amazing. I've got goosebumps again. And that's happened and
we know the answer
times during this stream, talking about certain things and situations. But the players needed to be up for it. But what I would say is that at that point, Igor Tudor was our manager, and now Roberto De Zerbi is our manager. And I think that things are very, very different. And I think that the changing room dynamic is now very, very different. They just had Thomas Frank. They had Igor Tudor that they thought was an interim boss, and now that we've got a permanent manager in Roberto De Zerbi, and like I said earlier, I don't think that we would be in this position now going into the final day of the season. I think it would have been done by this point, actually. So we do have a chance, and De Zerbi has given them belief and hope.
What I didn't know about De Zerbi was what I knew about De Zerbi is what everyone else talked about, which was very tactically astute, lots of commentary around how he baits the press. Pep Guardiola talked about how he's second to none. What I didn't know was sort of what a motivator he is. Like, now I've watched all of his press conferences. He's single-minded, he's a fighter, and even though English isn't his first language, like, he's got a bit of that Postecoglou, say a few words that just get some fire in the belly. So I don't think we could have a better man in the dugout for us than him for tomorrow, because I think he's going to strike the right balance of like galvanizing these guys, but also being like, right, this is how we're going to do it. So, I think he's captured our imagination, hasn't he? Let's just hope he's sticking around.
I love the fact as well that he's so positive about our squad, and he's so positive about our players, because even when asked about Mickey van de Ven, he said Mickey van de Ven is the best defender in the Premier League. And even when asked about an opponent's player, Thomas Frank would have spoken at length about their team, saying how great they are, saying how well they've done in the past matches, etc., etc. But De Zerbi, he will give a very quick answer on the opponent's player, and then he will spend the majority of the time going through our players, bigging our players up. And I said this a couple of months ago that whoever comes in, they need to start bigging up our players, saying how great they are. Even if they don't think they are, just tell them how great they are to give them a little bit more confidence that they need, or they needed at that point. Lee, anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to say thanks to you and the rest of the guys. Always a pleasure to be on with you, and I'm confident that you will not be visiting new stadium next season. You will be visiting the same old places. So,
please, yeah. Well, hopefully, Lee. Thanks so much for all of your input during the season, Lee. You've been great, and it must be said that you've been on a couple of very difficult podcasts this season. So we appreciate your time and effort.
Anytime, man. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers. Right, we're now going to go to Shane. Shane has been waiting very patiently. Shane, how are you? Nervous, of course, Shane. Yep. What's going to happen if you had to put money on it? How's it all panning out?
3-0 Spurs.
3-0.
2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
Yep. So job done.
And our first penalty of the season.
You sure?
No. I really think we just got to think about ourselves, not worry about the team we're talking about as well. We're in a position where we're 2 points ahead. So we're not chasing the result. We've just got to stay calm and be patient, I suppose, which is difficult because we're nervous. It's a massive, massive game. Massive game. It is a cup final. I think I was listening to what you were saying about the midfield earlier, and I think since Bentancur's come back in, he's given us a solid base.
I agree.
He's given us a bit of calmness in midfield. So he's been a major plus in the last 6-8 weeks. So definitely play him. We all having a bit of a go at Minani up front. He is a bit lightweight, but he might surprise us and he might score a goal tomorrow. I hope so. But I just really hope that the fans get behind Spurs, which I'm sure they will. I think the players are the players are going to be nervous, but that then creates adrenaline. So the adrenaline should carry them through. The only thing I am a little bit dubious about is Maddison either starting or coming on. I can't make my mind up on that. What do you think?
I think De Zerbi, after the press conference on Tuesday, he said that he's governed at the moment by the medical staff and the physios, and he's being told that he can't play more than 20 to 25 minutes. So I can't see Maddison starting with the game management. Definitely be at the end of the match, if and when we need him.
I'm sure the medical staff know what they're doing. What about half a match, 45 minutes? I mean, these are top athletes, and I get you've got to look after the welfare of the players, but if you go back, I don't know, a generation, players would play through all sorts of pain and stuff. I just don't. It's a massive game, and we need our big players. So I don't know. I'd almost start him and play the first 30, 45 minutes. I have got a question for you, which is a little bit worrying for me. Since our new manager's been in, he's not really played Archie Gray. And Archie Gray hasn't really done anything wrong, but is he going for experience rather than youth and energy?
He's been asked this a couple of times, Shane, and he's basically turned around and said that he wants Archie Gray to nail down a position in the team rather than being a utility player and rather than being a player that comes in and be a bit part player. Because I always say, when you're that utility player, you never really nail down that position. And I think that De Zerbi, at the end of the season, will probably work with Archie Gray to say, where do you want to play? Where do you think you're best playing? And he perhaps will then nail down a position in the starting 11. I think it says a lot that Archie Gray won all 3 supporter awards in the last 24 hours. And I think that some of these players just need a lot more time with De Zerbi. And I think at this point, De Zerbi is just trying to get Spurs over the line and be a team for next season. I just think that there's so many things for him to do in the summer and beyond. So I wouldn't worry about lack of game time for Archie Gray at this point. You mentioned referees earlier. Now, the referee on Sunday will be Michael Oliver and VAR Paul Tierney. Now, the West Ham v Leeds game, the referee will be Anthony Taylor and VAR John Brooks.
Yeah.
Shane, do you have any faith in the officiating this season? And if you were to pick out any of the good referees this season, who have they been?
Speechless. I've got a question
for those listening on audio. Shane just laughed.
The referees. I think the referees. It's become more about them in the Premier League. But I've got a question for you, and I'm not sure if you'll know the answer, but you have a go. What does VAR stand for?
Video assistant referee.
Sure.
Sorry?
You sure?
Well, have you got another one?
No. But what's the middle word?
Say that again.
The middle word is assistant.
Yeah.
So the referee is in charge of the game, not the bloody assistant. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
And they're not being decisive enough. You can say about all the 30 seconds, or if it's not clear and obvious and all that. But and we don't want to go on about the bad the decisions this season, but there's been a lot of them. But the league table never lies, and the league table is we're in the position because we've not been good enough this season.
Yeah.
And get the run in the green, and tomorrow we might get the run in the green. So it's got to be positive. But the VAR really, the point I'm making about the assistant referees, it should be helping the referee on the field. what they're saying, you know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a assured performance.
Shame someone's trying to get hold of you.
And get a result. We only need a draw. You know, we don't want to play negative to any other draw, but we only need 1 point.
Yeah.
And if we get 3, it'll be brilliant. And you never know with West Ham, they might not even draw or win either. So it's what are you going to be like when you're there tomorrow? Because you'll be there at the ground. I mean, I'll be at home. But what do you think?
Oh, watch out for the video, Shane. I tell you what, I think I'm going to be as nervous as hell tomorrow. I really do. On Sunday, I think it's going to be very, very nervy. I just hope, like Steve said earlier, you know, we calm the nerves early on and get an early goal. Settle those nerves inside the stadium, because the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, you know, this has been such a difficult year, such a difficult season. We have really, really struggled at home. Only won twice in the Premier League all campaign, and it has been really, really tough. So, you know, if there's any game this season where Spurs need to deliver, it is on Sunday. Just get the job done. Forget the other 37 games. Just get us over the line. But like Roberto De Zerbi said in the interview to Sky Sports yesterday, every player needs to give more. And that is exactly where I'm at. Every single player needs to give more. Shane, I'm going to move on because I've got so many guests to get through. So thanks so much for joining us. And we'll speak to you again soon.
Take care. Thank you. See ya.
Cheers. Right, we're now going to go back to Canada to speak to Colin. Colin, how are you?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
Yep, very good, thank you. How are you feeling right now ahead of this game?
I don't think that based on statistics, I don't think either West Ham or we are going to win, to be honest. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to be objective, looking at the way the season has gone for both clubs.
Yeah.
I can see both of us losing, and I can see us, limping out of the situation that we're in and into the next season. And I think that's, it is going to be what it is. I'm not confident that we're going to win. I think Everton's going to be motivated to. They're professional soccer players. They're going to be motivated to win. And I think the same thing in Leeds. I think Leeds will really want to win that game tomorrow at home to finish their season positively. You also pointed out how there's more money available depending on where your positioning is and so on. So I can see West Ham losing, and I can see us losing, unfortunately, as well. I'm not saying we are going to, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's the way it ended, with both of those teams losing and, we're advancing on that 2-point differential.
Colin, what have you made of the energy that Roberto De Zerbi has brought to this Tottenham Hotspur team in the 6 Premier League games that he's managed so far?
Well, I think that I feel the way that most people feel, is it's such a relief to see somebody that is so composed, so focused, somebody that you feel is really an honest broker of the situation. I don't think we felt that, certainly with our first manager of the year. And then we had that terrible, the interim situation was really bad. You were talking a few guests ago about highlights of the year and lowlights of the year. I just remember that terrible game at home when, you talked about all the booing and so on. And so I'm thrilled, honestly. I'm less worried now about him leaving over the summer. He seems to be, I can't imagine why he would want to hang in, but he seems to be, as I said, an honest broker of the situation. And I'm really, really pleased with everything that has come about. I think he's dealing with a club that is in a lot of trouble, and the fix is has been taking a while, but we've seen flashes of play that I think we're all really happy with, but still we're a little perplexed as to why we can't seem to reach those heights at the start of each game. The Chelsea game, we started a little bit better, but it's just perplexing to sort of be in a situation where we don't seem to be getting the effort from players that we think we should be getting. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the club has been so fractured this year from the top that I think it spills down into people being lacking in confidence and assurances and so on. So long answer, but I'm really, really pleased with, he's a top flight manager, and I think it's what we deserve as fans for sure.
Yeah, Colin, don't worry about long answers. Don't worry about that at all. Can I ask you what your opinion is on why Spurs have really struggled at home? Not particularly just this season, but last season under Ange Postecoglou as well. But when you look at this season, 2 home wins in the Premier League, and one of them was on the opening weekend against Burnley. The last time we won at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the Premier League was against Brentford. Both of them games that I mentioned, both under Thomas Frank. No home wins under Igor Tudor, and none under Roberto De Zerbi so far. But it's also fair to say that we were unlucky not to win the 2 under Roberto De Zerbi so far, against Brighton and against Leeds. But then when you look at the away record, Spurs sit 3rd in the away table, 3rd. And of course, 17th overall in the Premier League table. But, you know, what is it with home games? What is it? What is the problem, do you think?
Boy, it's an amazing question, especially statistically, the support you've given to the question. I mean, I'm going to cop out here. You're there all the time. I'm going to give my, guess, but I'd really like to know what you. I think that in some ways they feel less pressure playing on the road, which would be the most obvious answer. And I think that because we're so lacking in confidence, that when they feel that energy turn within the stadium, that it seems to obviously affect us very, very negatively. And we can't score goals. We don't score very many goals anywhere, and I think we score fewer at home. I honestly think that the club has been so fractured and so messed up from the top down that there's a lack of a foundation which we build confidence and develop players. We seem to have a lot of players that haven't improved within the last couple of years, that guys that have flatlined somewhat. And I don't know, Chris. I wish I had a better answer. I don't know. It seems like an outlier stat, that 3rd on the road and 18th, 17th at home is crazy.
Do you know what, Colin? You can't answer it, and neither can Mickey van der Ven, because he was speaking to Sky Sports. And when asked this question, he said it's difficult to say. The home form hasn't been acceptable, but there's not something going on when we play a home game. I have seriously no clue, but that's in the past. We have a massive game on Sunday. Now we have to change that and win at home. So the players can't even, put their finger on why the home form is so bad, but it does need to improve definitely next season hopefully under Roberto De Zerbi.
I'm glad Mickey doesn't know either then, because
yeah, but
it's a head scratcher.
It's simply not good enough. Finishing 17th last year, hopefully finishing 17th this year to get us over the line and remain a Premier League team. Colin, anything else you'd like to add?
I think that we're rightly focused on tomorrow in such a big way, and it is a huge, the biggest game since I've become a Tottenham fan. I would say in many ways this would be bigger than the Champions League final against Liverpool. I think that, as we all know, who was it that said? Somebody recently said that the second best football league in the world is the Championship. I don't know. I mean, that might be wildly anecdotal, but it's such an interesting idea. It's not like teams don't go down to the Championship and then bounce up the next year. We've seen that. So it's this huge thing tomorrow, which is really a kind of a weird situation to be in as a sports fan, that of course we're going to be thrilled that we're not looking at being in the Championship next year. But I must say that I've been so frustrated by times, and people have talked about this, wanting this to be over, that at the end of last week's game against Chelsea, and the refereeing was just probably the worst refereeing performance I've seen this year. You just want it to be over, and you're so frustrated with the fact that it's not going the way you think it should go. But here's what I wanted to say is, irrespective of, I think we're going to stay up. I don't think we're going down tomorrow. I think we're going to stay up. But we really have to, I hope that the club builds on the signing of De Zerbi and gets their affairs in order in terms of not only player acquisition, but player development. You look at somebody like Archie Gray, who we've really done a disservice to over the last 2 years. It's great that he's been on the pitch, but he's bounced around a lot. I think the kid doesn't really, he understands a great deal, but I think it must be, I think we've taken a lot of these young guys and we've put too much on them too soon because we don't have the depth to support them. And I'm thinking of people like Matthews Tell, Archie Gray. There's a lot of people that have been thrust into positions of responsibility that they're not really prepared for on this level. So I hope tomorrow we stay up and that the club shows us. We had this conversation, you and I, Chris, in January. This letter came out and you asked me what I thought. And I said, I don't think very much of it because I want to see the rubber hit the road and I want to see changes made. And I don't want to see excuses anymore. We're a huge club with a huge budget. We should be recruiting top flight talent, not secondary talent. And so players like that are not put in a position where there's so much on their shoulders that other teams do not expect their young players to be able to do. So win tomorrow, fix the club over the summer, sign players, build the development of the players that are already within our system. That's going to be a true move forward that we think we all want. Of course, we don't want to be in the championship, but we also want to see there has to be changes in the way the club is run.
Yeah.
After tomorrow.
Well said, Colin. Completely
Thank
agree.
you.
And I think you're only the second guest today to mention the championship. Actually, I think a lot of people are trying to be very positive about this Everton game on Sunday. But like I've said in the last few weeks, I think there's only 4 clubs in the championship right now who aren't an ex-Premier League club. And, when these clubs go down, I've no doubt that a lot of fan bases think, oh, it's all right, we'll come straight back up. A lot of clubs don't. Look how long Nottingham Forest were out of the Premier League, and look
Sunderland.
Look at Leicester now, gone down to League One, and
right.
10 years ago they won the Premier League title. So it's don't take anything for granted.
Do you think that, just I'll let you go, but and I want to say what everybody else is saying, and this is sincere and from the heart. You run such a great channel. It's such a positive presence on a system which can be very, very negative. And people are saying that to you, Chris, I think because it's true. It's a really nice place to get together with people and talk about what we love, which is our club. And I forget the second thing I was going to say, but I'm glad that I remember to say that and to thank you sincerely for another great year.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
The next time I see you, we'll be in the Premier League.
Good.
That's a lock.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers. Right. We're now going to go to Alex. Alex, how are you?
It's interesting Colin said that because I gave you a voice message email saying to you, Chris, because I'm not great with words, just to say some positive to you, basically. You know what I mean? Because I did say, because I was meaning to put something there, because I know that we've never agreed. We've never agreed on Tottenham, but Tottenham, I mean. And that's not a big deal anyway, because that's just how it is with Mr. Box Office. You know what I mean? I'm just that sort of guy. I can't lie what I see. You get what I'm saying? And
no, we've agreed on a lot of things.
Yeah, we've agreed on but we don't agree on a lot of things. That's not a bad thing, Chris. You know what I mean? Because if you do agree with me, don't get used to it. You get what I'm saying? You know, it's what it is. You know what I mean? It's football. But I've always said that you've been a gentleman to me. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to say that. You know what I mean? Even though you didn't reply back to my message, but I did say that to you because I sat there and thought, you know what I mean? I didn't feel that was right. That people have had a go at you. I don't think it's right. You know what I mean? And I'm not just saying that because you've got 100 subscribers, more than 100 subscribers. I'm not just saying that. I'm saying that because generally, that's how it is for years now. You know what I mean? And you stuck by it. So I'm just saying it out now, really. But just get
Alex, as I've always said to you, it doesn't matter what opinion someone has. I will always welcome people on the channel. so they can have their say and they can, express how they feel. Because I tell you what, this season again has been extremely poor. This season again has been extremely frustrating for us all. So what do you want to say?
Yeah. No, I was just giving you credit, Chris. That's all I was trying to do. That's the thing. So but really, what I wanted to say is that I don't agree with what people have said here. I think, for me, firstly, I think it sums it up, that the whole thing with Romero, I think that's the first thing. Even though there's rumours now that he's back in London, I think
Apparently
it sums it up. Everyone, pardon?
Apparently now people are saying that the pictures are old pictures. I'm not sure why he would post old pictures, so people would think he's in London, but I don't know.
So that sums it up anyway. So that's going to be a conundrum tomorrow. It sums it up now. People are talking about corruption with referees. I'm sorry. West Ham have given us 3 chances to get out of this and make this done, right? 3 chances. When really, let's be honest here, if West Ham had anything about them, we would have been in trouble. Like Brentford gave us a favour. When I was told I need to be a Brentford fan, I said I refuse. I'm sorry. I don't even mind West Ham winning. We should win our games. I said, and I said, Arsenal going to do us a favour. People will be an Arsenal fans for the day, Chris. I said, no, I'm not going to be an Arsenal fan. Tottenham win your game. Couldn't win a game against Leeds. You know what I mean? It's like we couldn't win the game against Chelsea when Chelsea were in bad form. And let's be honest here, we should have, at least got a draw at that game. But because of our strike force, which is absolutely bang average, we couldn't do nothing. And now we've left it to the last game, right? Which I'm not going to be at because I've got other plans. But I will watch it, but I will not be there because I cannot. Because
what are you doing?
For me, pardon?
What are you doing instead?
I've got a soccer event to go to because I plan to do that. I can't change my plans. I cannot change my plans for Spurs. I cannot do it. Because if I go to that game and see what I see, which I'm going to see the same thing, we'll get out of it because there's only one scenario we're not going to get out. We're going to be relegated by if West Ham win and we lose, right? And I think we can get a draw out of Everton. We're not going to win. We're not going to win. With 2 home wins, we're not going to win. We are not winning, right? So I don't think I can hold my tongue. I don't think I can hold my tongue, Chris. I hate this club. I absolutely hate this club right now. Well, no, I absolutely hate this club for the last 9 years, Chris. I've got to be honest, right? I even say this. My mistake, Chris, right? My mistake over the years on YouTube was focusing too much on Tottenham, right? I should have focused. Yes, I focused on my team because I love my team. Yeah, I love my team. But I should have focused on other teams to understand what good footballers are all about. Because I think the conversations we have the last 9 years is the same conversations, Chris. It's the same conversations. The only new conversation we're having at the moment is the referees. The referees. And for me, I'm sorry, right? We can't compare. Yes, there might be some decisions that are not right. Fair enough. But we had control to win the games. We were not good enough. That's the long and the short of it is we were not good enough, right? The fact that now people are saying, feeling sorry for Archie Gray, who is no better than bloody Harry Winks, that's where we're going right now. When now we've got Bentancur, who I've not liked. I called him a Juventus reject, but he's been our best player the last last month or so. He's been our best player.
Are you still producing content on Tottenham on your YouTube channel?
Yes, I am. But I'm doing it, and I'm doing other creative stuff as well on Tottenham as well, right? Diss tracks and everything else, and doing all that stuff now because I'm trying to diversify a little bit, right? But at the same time, I do feel that sometimes I do feel, Chris, you were a Tottenham fan in the 90s, and whenever you were, remember the players like David Ginola. Remember players like Robbie Keane, Defoe. You know what I mean? Those sort of players.
Goal scorers and entertainers.
Goal scorers, beautiful players. Gareth Bell. You know what I mean? Lennon. Aaron Lennon. There's so many players. Canute. I mean, some of these strikers couldn't even touch him. You know what I mean? We had Les Ferdinand, who, I'm sorry, Les Ferdinand would be better than some of the strike force. We've got Chris Armstrong, Stefan Everson, Chris, Nielsen, Chris, Sol Campbell, Chris. I don't care if he did what he did. I still love that guy. Ledley King, Chris, Justin Iver, or rest his soul, Chris. You know what I mean? All these players, right, that were decent players at our club.
Have you been impressed with Roberto De Zerbi since he's come in?
I've been impressed that he's put an arm. He's clearly put an arm around them. He's clearly put an arm around them, right? And that's showing definitely. He's done what I didn't expect, that he was going to win He's going to win games. He's won 2, but it was against Wolves and Aston Villa that didn't play their full team. And if Tottenham Hotspur really did want to prove themselves after that game, they should have got a result against Leeds and Chelsea, and then it would have just been case closed. But we didn't do that. You see what I'm saying? So, in the same breath, I think you can't blame him for what's going on, but you can't blame the other managers. This is on the ownership, Chris. Unfortunately, this is where unfortunately the same argument's going to happen every single time. I just don't believe in whether they're going to change anything, whether we stay up or down. I do agree. I think we're going to be in big trouble if we're down next season, because I don't care, but at the same time, I am just sitting there saying I just don't know whether they get the football side of things, and that's where I think other clubs like Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton have got the idea of what it is to be having football people to make decisions, to have a plan. And that's where my concern is. That's where my concern is, Chris. I've got to be honest.
Alex, yes or no? Are Spurs staying up?
No.
You think we'd be?
I don't think. I just for me, actually, I'll change my answer, because I think it's quite a light. I think I'll change my answer. So I'm not flip flopping. I'm just saying I think I was just knee jerk reaction there, because I'm so angry with the club. Yes, they will. They will, but they'll by the skin of their teeth.
Right.
By goal difference.
So if Spurs stay up on goal difference, so that means that Spurs would draw the game and West Ham United would win theirs. Is that your prediction?
Yeah.
Right.
I think
so if that's the case, what needs to change, in your opinion, at the football club? I know this is going to probably be a long answer. And I know you've probably got a lot to say on this, but what does need to change, in your opinion, as a Tottenham fan? What needs to change at the football club to make us successful again?
Ownership need to go. I wish I didn't need to say that, Chris. I really wish I didn't need to say that, but unfortunately, I think that's the only way forward for me. Because I just don't think they get it. I don't think they're going to bring in any. I don't think they're going to have any plan that's going to, in the next few or 5 years, that is going to be consistent, like Arsenal, for instance, and be able to stick to a plan that is going to bring us forward. I think it's too many business people in the club, and I think in the end, I think De Zerbi, it can prove me wrong, but I think he's just going to end up just getting frustrated. I think he's going to end up getting frustrated. And I think you can see it right now, to be honest with you. I think you can see it right now. There's just not enough footballing people behind the scenes, like a David Pleat, like a Paul Mitchell. If you want to talk about strategy, I just don't think they've got enough of them that you see at other clubs at the moment to actually bring it forward. And they can prove me wrong, but I just think it's got worse since Daniel Levy's left. And I'm not saying that Daniel Levy was good. No, he was. He was terrible. He was terrible for the football club. But he wasn't the major problem. It's just the whole thing. I don't think they get it, Chris. I really don't, unfortunately. And you just have to look at the years when we were in the Champions League final, and Arsenal, from those years on to now, and now they've won the Premier League. Look at the development from Arsenal from that point to now, and Tottenham to now.
Alex,
if you look at that point,
are you a season ticket holder?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I only buy tickets when I on the exchange.
I'm surprised you're not going tomorrow.
Listen. Like I said, I think there's emotion about this as well, Chris. Yeah. It takes a lot of emotion out of you as well. And and I'll be honest with you, Chris. For me, right, I don't want to be in that stadium when it kicks off, because when it kicks off, people start fighting in that stadium. And I hate that because there's kids in there, and I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Right, this is me now seeing the personal side of me. Yeah, right, and I know when it gets really toxic, and I know people do not have a tongue. So that's where I'm just sitting there saying, you know what? I don't want to be in that area at the moment. And you know me, Chris, yeah? There's people out there. Actually, you know what? Because I was actually hoping to see you tomorrow, yeah? I was hoping to see you tomorrow because, we haven't seen each other for a long time face to face, right? All right? I love seeing Ben and Sim from We Are Tottenham TV who don't agree with me as well, but I love those boys. I love those boys to bits. You know what I mean? There's people that I love to see at the stadium, but I just need to, because it's just going to spoil my bloody bank holiday, Chris. It's going to spoil my bank holiday, and I've put too much time into Tottenham. I mean, and it's just too much for me. It's too much for me, and I just don't want to see. I know what I'm going to see. I'm going to get very frustrated by just looking at that front line and the team. I know what I'm going to see. I know what I'm going to see. The only thing that's really the only thing that's got a chink of light is Maddison. The only chink of light we've got is James Maddison, because you saw when he came on, you saw that chink of light.
Yeah,
you saw that chink of light because he's got that creativity, and it just reminds you of Harry Kane. It reminds you of Harry Kane. I'm not saying he's better. No, please do not think. No, I'm not comparing Maddison to Harry Kane, right? But he's just had that something about him, just to create something out of nothing. You know what I mean? Just to get some juices flowing. You know what I mean? And I think that's exactly what we're missing. And I think the problem is with Everton. Everton can just soak up the pressure that we got. We're going to have all the ball, right? And they just need to soak up the pressure. And then one little killer punch, right? We might even get a goal, but they might get a goal back, which is likely, right? And that's where the problem is. You know exactly what our confidence is like when it goes against us. It just goes like this.
The most important thing, though, Alex, is getting over the point. The most important thing is getting a point or three. You've already said that you think that Spurs. You've already said that you think that Spurs will get a point. So again, we're at this situation, and I take your point, like you said earlier, about we talk about the same thing as we go around in circles, all that. I've said this actually on this stream already today, in a couple of hours that we've been recording, and I've also said this, in previous weeks, in previous months, in previous years. Sometimes when I hit that record button and recording the Spurs Chat podcast straight after matches, I sit there with the likes of Craig, Ricky, and all of the other channel regulars that we have. And sometimes I feel like I'm asking the same question. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking about the same scenario, the same situation. And it does feel a little bit boring sometimes. And I hate the fact that we are talking about the same things or wishing and hoping the same things. I want the club to be ambitious. I want us to be challenging for top honours, i.e. the Premier League, etc. And desperately want major things to change at the football club, and it has to, Alex. It has to, because you can't finish 17th, twice in consecutive years. It's absolutely ridiculous. This cannot go on like this. Some major changes do need to be made at the football club. Now, before you go, is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, like I said, I hope I didn't annoy you at the beginning, Chris. I just wanted to say that to you. I wanted to say what I said to you at the beginning, because I really genuinely do say that to you. And don't get used to me being nice. Don't get used to me being nice, Chris. Though,
you're always
what I mean? Yeah, but don't get used to me being nice to you right now, because you know what I'm like sometimes. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to say that, Chris, because I know you've had a hard time. And I just wanted to say that, Chris, because you're the first person that gave me that chance on your show, right, when we met at the stadium, and genuinely, like, yeah, we've not agreed, but that, like I said, I haven't agreed with a lot of people, but you've always invited me, and you know, whether you disagree with me or not, you've always invited me, and you've never wanted me to change or whatever it is. I know sometimes I go over the top, but you know, it's YouTube. You know what I mean? That's what we're here to do sometimes, just to express ourselves. You know what I mean? But that's all I wanted to say, Chris, anyway, because I know you need to go to your next guest anyway. But thank you for your time, mate.
Before you go, tell everyone where your YouTube channel is, what it's called, and what people can expect if they come across to your channel.
Mr. Box Office TV. It's very reactive, reacting to things of Tottenham. I mean, also do some few tunes as well, diss tracks about Tottenham, about things that I feel sometimes expressing in a different way. And the best, the worst, and bang average will be coming soon, right? And it will be about managers, which is ironic. Top 5, which will be coming soon on the channel as well. I'm not doing that many lives at the moment because I can't speak too long on Tottenham that much. But yeah, and yeah, that's it really. Yeah, please keep supporting Chris, because he's been doing this for years now. Doing the first thing I saw you doing your stadium tours and stuff, and that I mean, now look at where we are right now. You know what I mean? I don't know whether we dreamt of this really. I think we were dreaming of a better future when you were doing those videos before, when we were building that stadium. But now, looking at it now, maybe we want to get back to that White Hart Lane stadium, don't you think? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Alex, I'll say it again. You know, you don't need to keep saying to me about we disagree. I actually agree with a lot more points than you think. And you know, like I've said before, everyone is very welcome. I even put a post out before we went live on this one saying if anyone wants to come on, you know, to get some new guests on for this stream, you know, I welcome new guests. So if you want to come on, email me, tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It'd be great to talk to you. And as always, Alex, great to talk to you. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'll speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Right, we're now going to go to Scott.
What?
Scott?
You're gonna have me follow that? You're setting me up. Okay. All right. How you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing? Right. Yeah. You start, because I don't even know where to go with this, because after
Scott,
that, my mind starts spinning.
How are you feeling right now? But put into words how this game, Tottenham Everton, what are you thinking? Because you've probably heard a lot of people, you know, speak on the stream already. We've spoken at length about only winning 2 Premier League games all season. You've also heard us say about the positivity that Roberto De Zerbi has brought to this football club. Because when you think back to that 44-day stint under Igor Tudor, I tell you what, I was very worried during that 44-day period, because every time that he spoke to the media or, you know, spoke in press conferences, etc., everything was very negative. And, you know, he come out and said that, you know, and he might have been right in some regards, saying about the defence isn't good enough, the midfield isn't good enough, the attack isn't, you know, good enough or doing enough. Probably right on a lot of aspects, but Roberto De Zerbi's approach has been completely different. He's come in, he's put the arm around players, he's told players that they're good, they're very capable. We're very capable of going on a run of winning 5 in a row, etc., etc. We've picked up those points, you know, those wins against Wolves, Aston Villa, the draws against Brighton and Leeds, when realistically, you know, we went through that period under Thomas Frank and Igor Tudor where it honestly felt like we weren't going to pick up another point. And then Roberto De Zerbi's come in, and we find ourselves now on the final day of the campaign, and we are in control of this.
Okay, so what was the original question in there?
Well, there's a lot there.
There was a lot there.
How are you feeling about it all?
Well, I think, first of all, Tudor, at first, I think they needed that, because especially when you looked at Van de Ven, Spence earlier in the season when they totally dissed Frank. At that time, I wasn't sure how I felt about Frank, because I still didn't see a clear plan. Obviously, they were right. They were right when they could see that, why are we going to cheer the fans when we really stunk it up? And I started seeing Frank in a different light from that point forward. I don't know if I was like Craig, who wanted him gone in November, but definitely by January 1st, he should have been gone, because then that derailed the whole transfer window. So feelings towards them right now, I feel positive. I felt positive against Chelsea, so obviously that means nothing. I just was really disappointed. A team that should have been ripe for the picking, we just did not seem to have a whole lot there. And then, of course, we get calls that were not for us. So right now, though, and again, this is where I always compliment you a little more so than our last guest, because you stick with it no matter what. When it gets bad, I just kind of tune it out a little. I'm not in North London. I'm in Portland, Oregon. You know, there's a lot of Spurs fans, and I come across a fifth grader. I'm a teacher who goes, Arsenal, Spurs suck, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, whatever. They won the league. Good job. You know, but I don't feel so bad. I do feel like this is an Amazon documentary. You know, it just goes right along with Christian Romero's back in London. You know, he probably will be, and the Amazon documentary will show him at some cafe or something, or getting his haircut. Because but then again, I felt like last game would have been the climax, and then the resolution would have been Everton, and we win, and we all happy, and well, relief, happy. I think we're all going to be happy, no matter. I mean, I say relief now, but yeah, maybe I won't say happy, because I just feel like I'm going to breathe out for once. It's just felt like, I don't know, just holding so much in, especially when, you know, you get all the Arsenal people just shouting out Arsenal, ha, ha, ha. And they get on your chat. I swear to God, there's probably 2 or 3 people who just keep changing their name and get in here. I just block them, but I block it all out. And so again, I give you compliments, because you're not able to block it all out. You host these shows and give us all this chance to vent our frustrations and our hopes.
Well, it's very important, Scott, that a number of people come on from around the world and we get their views and thoughts on everything at the moment. Now, if Spurs do get over the line on Sunday and we get at least a draw against Everton, I've been asking this same question to a number of guests today, and I'll ask you the same. What does need to change, in your opinion, going forward? Because, you know, when you look at the Premier League table now, so many teams have improved their squad. So many teams have improved their style of play. You know, Spurs at the moment seem to be quite far behind. But at the same time, football can change pretty quickly with good decision making.
I think that the first thing is the Lewis family should sell, because I just don't think they have a clear plan. They have way too many executives. That's what I've been saying in the message board over and over and over. Too many executives. We should never have had Paratici with Langer and with the other, oh God, I can't even remember them all, but there's just too many. You just need one person who has a clear idea. They need to make De Zerbi manager and let him pick the players. And then they can say yes or no. Because I think it was, Ange, he was saying that he really didn't have many choices. He agreed with Solanke, but they threw a lot of other players at him that he was just like, okay, sure, that'd be okay. But he wasn't really behind it. I think he needs to be the manager. And I think he's going to eventually, if we make it, I think he's going to eventually get frustrated if they just keep throwing him these players that don't really fit systems. I like Conor Gallagher, but you know, did we need that position? No, we needed a winger. Kudus they should have been able to see Kudus was not coming back. I mean, how do they not know these things? How do they not know that Kulusevski was not going to be playing? I mean, they must have better ideas. I mean, watching him move around, it's like, okay, he's not going to be back. We need to get an attacking midfielder or a winger. Kula Mwani, drastic. I mean, it's just, how many times I've heard the ratings you guys, you've been going 0 to 100 after the games with Mwani, and I think they've been giving him like 38, 35. I mean, he's just poor. And I think De Zerbi, and I don't know where this problem lies. The Spurs managers have the worst substitution rates of any managers. They always seem to wait too long. And I don't know who was saying it. I think it was, the guy who talks Tottenham all the time. I don't know. You guys all like him. I like him. I listen to him all the time. Can't even remember his name now. But anyway, he was saying how many times he's seen, what's that?
Craig.
Not Craig. No. He's not with your channel. He has his own channel. He goes to all the games.
Oh, right.
Alistair Gold.
Right.
He was saying how many times have the guys been warming up, ready to go on the field, and they wait and they wait and wait, and then all of a sudden we give up a goal. Then everything changes. And I think that's the worst thing about the Spurs right now is just how they don't have trust in players, and they don't trust to throw someone in there. Like Archie Gray, I feel like he would be a better choice moving forward than probably Gallagher, Paulinho. I mean, you have Paulinho, Bentancur. I think we were giving him praise for a while, but now I've gone back to that last game. It just seemed like nothing was going forward in the center mid.
Scott, you mentioned Ange Postecoglou and you mentioned about transfer windows. And I said it at the time under Ange that, we need to stop buying these players for the future. Although, it's great having players for the future. It's great having development players, etc. When they're given opportunities, which they haven't. And that's another subject that we could talk about, but not today. But when you talk about experienced players coming in, and that's exactly what Ange Postecoglou needed, in my opinion, more experience coming in. Now, Marcos Senesi, a centre-back at Bournemouth, it looks likely that he will join the football club if we remain in the Premier League. It also looks likely that Andy Robertson will join the football club if Spurs remain in the Premier League. Now, Senesi's 28 and Andy Robertson is 32. Are these the types of players that should be coming into the football club? Are these the types of players that will shoot Spurs up the Premier League table? And with their experience, is it a good move for Tottenham? Are these the types of players that we should be bringing in? Or do you want to see world-class talent with respect? Because I've quite often said on this channel, we don't buy world-class players. And the last world-class player we brought in my opinion, was back in '94, and that was Jurgen Klinsmann. Yes, we've had some decent players from then up until now. But I would love to see Spurs going out and signing top-quality, ready-made players. Wow signings, I call them.
When I've heard you mention that several times, just I worry how they bring these players in though, because if you think of Robertson, he and Doggy could be rotated in that position. Sure, Robertson starts some games. We get leadership. He could be like a center back outside of a 3. But I don't know about Senesi, because then you ruin the Vuskovic. I think we've got to get him in the team. I think we need younger players. I don't really think Brighton have the best strategy, because they do sell players, I think, before they can hit that next level. They're, I think, what are they in 6th, 7th? They're somewhere close again. So obviously their system must work to a certain degree. But I think that system suits the Spurs, especially academy players. I think part of the problem, I don't know if it was February, March, it just didn't look like the team was really like, oh, we got to get the Spurs in, keep the Spurs in the Premier League. We got to keep getting points. I feel like we need at least one player from our academy in the team. And I feel like Archie Gray, to a certain extent, feels that way. I don't know. Doesn't he feel almost like he's from our academy at this point? He's young. He's, ready to go. But we need players like that. And so I think there has to be a balance. I mean, superstar players, as long as they fit a needed position. Like, I'm going to ask you, which position would you put that superstar in?
I think if you're gunning for or wanting to fight on all fronts, Scott, I think that you need quality throughout the whole of the squad. And that's the problem. And
let's just talk. Which position would you got to get rid of a few of these players, and that's another problem we have. But which position would you put that superstar? Or let's get 3 superstars.
Well, I think throughout the whole of Tottenham's history, the exciting areas are always always in the final third. And we've always had goal scorers. We've always had players that can put the ball in the net. This season has been very, very difficult to watch Spurs, because in the final third, it simply hasn't been good enough. Players like Richarlison, they will give you... Richarlison seems to give you a lot, but he doesn't give you a lot of goals, and he doesn't provide the amount of goals that we hope. Randall Kolo-Muani, I think, has been a disaster. 1 Premier League goal this season. I think that has been terrible. Tell is learning his trade. And of course, we've suffered so much with injuries. Dominic Solanke, when he's in the team, I don't feel that we use him to the best of his ability. And that's the problem. So yeah, I in answer to your question, probably striker. We need to concentrate on actually scoring goals next season, particularly how Roberto De Zerbi sets his team up, so good offensively. So that certainly needs to be improved in the summer. And I would hope that Spurs really go all out and improve that final third area.
And I think we all agree there, but it's all about how can we make them work as a team. And I think De Zerbi is the man.
Yeah.
I think I like him better than Poch, because Poch just, I watched his press conferences. I mean, people say, oh, Conte's press conferences were blah. And
that's a big statement, Scott, only 6 games in.
What he says and the way he talks, I believe it. I mean, he's got me to believe. Maybe I've drank the Kool-Aid, but I just see that he has a real holistic way of how this team should work. I don't know, Brighton before him, they had Chris Hughton as their manager, I think, right? They weren't that great. And I think the system was still in place. But once he got in there, he worked with that system perfectly. Potter was before him, right?
Decision making and recruitment at places like Brighton and Bournemouth are absolutely fantastic, and that is exactly the route that Spurs need to follow, in my opinion.
Well, there you go. But they're not buying the superstars, right? They're selling them, getting all this money, and then they buy young players again. But
you need a mixture, though, Scott. You need a mixture, like you said.
Yeah, a mixture, exactly. So that's why I say, you think a striker. What other position would you say we need to upgrade for sure with a superstar?
But when I say the mixture, when was the last time we signed a world-class player? That's what I'm saying. So if you're signing players for the future, you're signing young talent, and you're signing fairly decent players, spending a fair bit of money on them. When was the last superstar? When was the last time you were
It doesn't happen. I think Solanke's as close as we've come. I mean, when Bale came back, I mean, he was a superstar that had already faded, and he did give us a lot that year, actually. I think that's where we need an executive who's not formally Arsenal. No Langer, get rid of him. Get one guy to work with De Zerbi and really say, how do we mix all these guys together? How do we get this collective mid that moves forward, doesn't panic, wingers that, don't pull hamstrings. Of course, that's really hard. But they bomb the wing and they cross the ball, or whatever the plan is. That's what I didn't really like about Ange's plan. He'd have his fullbacks go in there, get all the way forward. They really weren't crossing the ball. They would pass it back. And sometimes we get goals. We get those goals with Timo Werner even, or Brennan Johnson on the back post. That works occasionally. But I feel like we have had so limited space since that first season of Ange ball that you just couldn't play that way anymore. And you had to have plan B. He didn't have a plan B. So we just need to have a collective where one guy is the executive. You put De Zerbi as a manager where he gets his own players, and you work together to figure out what do we really need to get these guys to be a collective.
Scott, lastly, score prediction for Sunday?
Oh, hey, you haven't given that to anybody else but me. Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, not everybody. I don't know. I hate predicting scores. I'm terrible at it. Well, of course, I want to see him win.
Pass. You don't need to answer.
Know. I just feel like I curse them. I feel like everything's my fault. I'm wearing the wrong shirt today. It's like when they lose, I just feel like it's all my fault. Of course, this year they've lost so much. I'm going to say 2-0.
Yeah. So you think Spurs will survive?
I think they're going to survive, and I think they're going to win. Of course, I've been wrong many times.
Scott, I hope you're right. Thanks so much for all your input this season, and we'll speak to you soon.
Keep it up. I love what you do.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Right. We're now going to go to Gary. Gary, sorry for keeping you waiting. How are you?
All right, fine, Chris.
How are you feeling?
Bit nervous, to be quite honest with you, but I think we'll do it. I think I'd rather be in our position than West Ham's position. We've got the points. We just got to do it. I think we've got a lot of problems to sort out for next season. I think it comes right from the top. I think the Lewis family need to decide if they're in the big league or sell. You can't be halfway in and out. We've seen the last 2 seasons, it's been pretty dicey. If just looking from their business point of view, if the worst happened, £2 million has gone down the drain for the value of the club. They can't mess about. They kept saying, investment. That 100 million, I told you before, that just went to pay off the debt. Remember they promised us 100 million war chest. That when Levy went, Levy had a good relationship with the banks. I suppose they thought, we're going to spend, get rid of Levy. The banks panicked and called some debt in. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot to it. I think they've obviously tried to dilute the shares at the football club as well. So I think when some people think that a lot of money is being injected into the football club for transfers,
We knew that wasn't going to happen. We knew that wasn't going to happen.
That isn't the case. But like I've said for many, many years, and like I just said there to Scott, you know, I'd like to see, you know, top quality signings. And I don't just mean go out and spend, you know, hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds. The
You don't,
decisions
Chris, you don't need to. You just need good recruitment like Bournemouth.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't spent that. I mean, I know I keep going about Bournemouth, but there's Brentford, there's other. You don't, when we spend big, we make mistakes. You know, Nombele, that was a big mistake. You know, you need to spend, but you don't need to, unless you're going to get a player for 100 million that's banging in goals left, right, and centre, which we're not really going to do. You know, we're in that mid 60 million sort of thing, 200 grand a week, but it doesn't bring you real top quality. I think and what about all these loanee players? You know, we forget about them. They keep mentioning that Velocevic, you know, we should keep him. I don't know what all that nonsense is about. You know, he's one of the best players in Europe. We don't want to sell him. You know, we got Ashley Phillips. I don't know how he's doing. We got Mickey Moore. You know, you don't know whether they are good enough this season. The academy don't really give us much injection that are ready-made players. Do you know what I mean? We send them out on loan, but we need players next season. Are they going to be up for it? I don't know. I don't know whether. Hopefully they are. But Dane Scarlett, what's all that about? They should sell him. They don't use him. Is he injured? I don't know what's happened to him. He was meant to be a great one for the future when he back in the day. But nothing. A lot of them seem to just get out on loan and disappear, and we forget about them. But so I think the recruitment, the owners need to, I said, decide what they want to do. You know, do they want to bring the club up, or do they just, because they don't actually, all that spending is on credit. You know, that they haven't actually put their own money in. You know, over the 20 years, they put 130 million in, which is peanuts. You know, they all blame Levy, but I just think they threw him under the bus. I just think he was dealt with a certain amount of money, and I think he'd done the best to his ability. Really, they used him as a scapegoat, but it hasn't changed, does it? I'm not saying it's any worse than he's gone, but it hasn't changed, and I just don't think that they're taking this seriously enough. I think they need to invest about 300 million, not on players, but get rid of some of that loan. You know, get rid of some of the debt, so then we can, you know, spend money as well. But I think they just want to hopefully mess about with, you know, 50 million here, 20 million here, and our recruitment is just not up to it. We've never replaced Kane or Son by a mile. And you say you can never replace them players. You can. It's not easy. You know, if you scour the world, you can find these little, you know, players.
Gary, what players would you expect to leave the football club in the summer?
Well, Dane Scarlett, I think Van der Ven will probably leave. You know, I sent an email to Romero. That's disgusting. You know, all that rubbish the agents come out with. It was you put a clip on YouTube in the training ground. You know that all. So I think Romero will go. I'm not saying they should go, but I would say Romero should go because I think it's disgusting what he's done. But Van der Ven, great player. But do you think he's going to stay? I think the agents turn their heads. You know, I saw them that game at Bournemouth when they all went mad at a fan. I think as soon as I saw that, I thought they're on their way out. You know, Vicario, I wouldn't want him to leave, but I think that's a done deal. What you read, I think he's going to back to Italy. You know, I'm not a fan of Solanke, to be honest. He's not a bad player, but is he a player that's going to score 25 goals a season? I don't think he is. You know, they say he holds the play up, but number 9 should be scoring goals. I know he's been injured, and I'm not saying he's a terrible player, he's a terrible buy, but we paid way over the top for him. He's not a £65 million player. You know, and I said at the beginning of the season, where are the goals going to come from? And I don't know if you remember the beginning of the season, Van der Ven scoring a few, Porro scoring a few, Romero scoring a few, but we didn't get that striker that was banging them in. You know, it was a bit, you have a few, you have a few, and that's what we've been missing. And I think we're only realising how much we miss Kane and Son now.
Yeah.
Because if you look the 2 seasons that they've gone, you know, it's been quite a drastic. You know, Kane would always get you out of trouble. I know we couldn't keep him. I'm not saying we could keep him. And I wish him the best of luck. And I still like to see him do well, you know, in Germany, because I think he was a true professional. And, you know, we didn't do enough to keep him. Not money, but success. I'm glad he's got some success because he deserved it. But it's just a hole from the top to the bottom. The managers, I think Frank dug us a little hole. I think Tudor had a JCB digger and dug us main, and that was a terrible appointment. But my only fair point to the board is they did get De Zerbi, and I think they must have given him a massive bonus to twist his arm. I don't think he really wanted to come. I think they really must have given him a great bonus to stay up, because he sort of turned it down quite a bit. So in fairness to them, they made a couple of, you know, Frank, you know, in hindsight, it's a great thing. It looked okay. You know, it wasn't a fantastic, you know, on paper before he came over, it was okay. It looked okay. Obviously, it turned out not great. Tudor, the minute he spoke after the Arsenal match, I knew that was a wrong one. You know, he was already saying, oh, I didn't realise how bad it was. You don't say that.
Yeah.
So, De Zerbi is getting the players on side. But I think the players have got so much power. If they don't like the manager, that manager's going to find it very, very hard. You know, I think, especially I think they like Postecoglou, and I think they might have thought, oh, it was a bit unfair getting rid of him because he won that. So the next manager it's an uphill battle for him. Although he had nothing to do with sacking him, if a manager left of his own accord and a new one come in, they've got no animosity. But some of the players might have felt a bit upset that Postecoglou left, and I think you know, the players have got such, you know, the players have the ump and don't like the training, don't like that. They all have their little WhatsApp groups, all the private conversation. It's very hard for them to listen to the manager, I think, unless they put their arm around him, which I think De Zerbi's done. I think Redknapp was great at that. And however harder character you are, you all like an arm around you, you know. And I think if you're a shouter and screamer, all right, shout and scream at the right time, but take them out to dinner, what De Zerbi done. And I think he's done fantastic, really, for where we were, you know. And I think we're scraped through. I can't see us going down. I'm not looking forward to. I haven't looked forward to the matches for ages. Like you, I've been looking at one. Well, first we were looking at West Ham's result, Nottingham Forest, and then gradually they got out of it, and then we were just looking at West. You know, it was like watching. It's like Tottenham winning the cup. Look, seeing West Ham get beat the other night. It hasn't been pleasant. I mean, I'm actually dreaming about it, horrible things. Do you know what I mean? It's just in your brain, you know, and especially you know, you go home and I said to you, I sent you an email. I don't know how you got the energy to do these streams after a bad match. You know, I don't know how you pick yourself up to do it.
I'll be honest, Gary, I'm out of energy. I'm glad the season is done with, and after Sunday, I'm off on holiday for a week.
Have a break, and then we're here all the transfer nonsense, you know, all that nonsense. Who we're getting, who's not getting. But I think I think the positives. If we get Senesi, I don't know whether that's a done deal, but he's a good player. You know, I don't know whether that's paper talk. Yeah, not a superstar, but a very good player. If we get that Vlahovic, you know, that's a good two at the back four to start with. You know, and depends. I think all that Romero business is to get his exit. You know, these agents are very clever. They tell him what to put out on social media. They leak the stories out. I think he wants to go to Spain. You know, I think probably Van der Ven's got maybe Real Madrid. Who knows? I can't see him staying, to be honest with you. I think he'll want. They all come out that chestnut Champions League football, don't they? I want Champions League football. That's their normal little get out.
Yeah, they want top. They want top European football, and rightly so.
And then when I think about the board, I like to say, suddenly now it's like the Rachel Reeves moment. There's this big black hole. What's all that about? You know, or suddenly we didn't think we haven't got as much money as we thought. So that's basically saying don't expect much in the transfer window, isn't it?
Oh, they need to make changes. I'll tell you what, Gary. Gary, thanks so much for joining us. I tell you what, you alongside so many guests today, I could talk all night about Tottenham, but I've got two guests left.
All right. But again, I like to say what all the other guys say. Thanks for putting the show on. It just sometimes, like, especially if your wife don't interested in football, and you say, I'm lucky my son's a Tottenham fan, so we can. But sometimes it just gets it. Watching the show, just gets it out, draws a line under that game, and on to the next one. Sometimes you just switch off and watch another TV program. It's in your head still, and the frustration and the anger, and it's the anger as well. And the anger of the players' attitude. But as fans, we have very, very little say, and we know very little what goes on in that club. But all clubs, all we see is a game kicking a football about. We don't know what's happening. We don't know who's coming in, who's going, what the players think of the owners, what the owners think of the players, what the players think of the manager. All we hear is 99% rubbish in the press and just a little bit of. But okay, well, all the best for tomorrow, Chris. I'll be watching it on the telly. I'm going down the pub to watch it, and maybe speak mid-season. All right, cheers, Chris. Thanks a lot.
Speak to you soon. Thanks, Gary.
Bye. Bye.
Right, we have got two guests left. We're going to go to Joseph, and then Dustin will come to you lastly. Right, Joseph, how are you?
Hello, Chris. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly well. Yeah, how are you feeling ahead of Sunday's game?
Oh, I don't even know. I'm a nervous wreck, Chris.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't know what to expect from the game. I'm in an R in, obviously, I'm sure all of us are. I think some people are trying to stay positive and hoping for a result, but it's hard to expect one with the form that Tottenham have had at home this season. I think a lot of my hopes are being pinned on Leeds, trying to get a result and hoping that they can do us a bit of a favour and give us an easier time of it. But no, I mean, I'm so nervous for the game. It's probably the biggest game possibly in our history, definitely the biggest game I've ever watched, in my lifetime. So yeah, very nervous, but looking forward to it to be over, to be honest. I genuinely am. I think I'm ready for this season to be done. It's been really tiring. I go on many podcasts, and it's always great to talk about Tottenham with like-minded Spurs fans and to get people's opinions. It's great. I love it, but it's just been exhausting supporting Tottenham this year. And I think it's just, I put out a tweet on Wednesday saying I wish I could just go to sleep and wake up at 6 p.m. on Sunday, because I just want it to be done. I want it to be done. I want the season to be over and to, look forward to the World Cup, enjoy that for a bit, and then, then get re-engaged with Spurs again. But hopefully we can just get over the line.
Now, last year, of course, we won the Europa League. The night before that game, how did you feel? Is it the same feeling for you going into this one?
Chris, it's an interesting one, really, because, I hadn't really witnessed the trophy. And I know obviously we won the Carling Cup in 2008, the famous Jonathan Woodgate extra time goal. And I was only, 7 years old when that happened. So I never really understood what it truly meant to be a Spurs fan at that point. I don't think I kind of understood the jeopardy of it. And then that Europa League final, of course, it was massive. It was absolutely massive. Growing up, kind of getting picked on for being a Spurs fan. Oh, you never win. And, it's such a great moment. But this, there's dread. There's a lot of dread for tomorrow. And it's such a big moment for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club about where are we going to go? What is the trajectory of Tottenham going forward? It's such a big moment. And it's so scary when you don't really have that much faith and that much trust in the players on the pitch. I think this is one of the first times where I don't truly believe in those players on the pitch, especially that forward line. I don't trust them to go and get us goals to beat Everton tomorrow. I don't trust the midfield to dominate the game. And it's hard when you're pinning your hopes on hope. You don't really have that faith as much. So, I mean, I think it's bigger than the Europa League final. Again, probably the best moment I've ever had watching Tottenham in my lifetime, the best moment that night. But this game, there's so much more jeopardy on the line. There's so much more on the line.
Joseph, how important can or will James Maddison be in this final game of the season?
Yeah, I mean, he's debatably integral. I think if we're going to get a result, he's going to be a massive part of that. Obviously, we know that maybe there's only 25 minutes, 30 minutes that he can play.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if we were losing, he came on earlier and played longer, even with that chance of him not being able to. I just wouldn't be surprised because of how important it is that we get this result. So yeah, I mean, the one thing I noticed against Chelsea is when he came on, it felt like we had a spark. It felt like we had a player who could really go and try and create something for us.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've missed all season. Xavi's shown it in moments, but again, maybe him adjusting, acclimatizing to the Premier League has been a bit of a challenge for him. But there's been no other players in our midfield that can do that, Chris. And it's such a shame that we've missed Maddison. I think a lot of Spurs fans would agree. If we had Maddison this whole season, we wouldn't be anywhere near the position we are right now. So here's hoping that we don't need him. I don't imagine he'll start. I don't think that's the right idea. I think, again, it's best to react. And if he needs to come on, he can come on. You've got to hope that the players on the pitch can get us over the line. And there's a possibility they can. There's no reason they can't. Everton aren't this world-beating team. Our team have got the ability to do it. It's just what Tottenham are going to turn up. Is it going to be the Tottenham we've seen at home in recent weeks? Is it going to be the Tottenham that we've been disappointed with at home throughout this season? Or is it going to be, maybe this away form, Roberto De Zerbi Tottenham that's kind of starting to pick up a little bit of form?
Joseph, finally, 3 questions for you. What's been your favourite moment of the season? What's been your worst moment of the season? And if you had to pick a player of the season?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I can think of a best moment of the season. That's really tough. It's been a tiring, long season that I've just kind of wanted. It feels like a never-ending nightmare at points. Tottenham being in this position. Maybe I'd have to say the Man City game.
What I said earlier was the Man City away game earlier on the campaign, and the Aston Villa away game recently. That were my answers.
Yeah, and that shows how void we are of any real positive experiences this year as Spurs fans. Yeah, I'd probably agree with you. I think the Man City game was really impressive. I thought we played really well, but we have done for years for some reason against City. We do always give them a game.
Yeah.
But that was a very impressive performance, and I think at that moment I was thinking, Thomas Frank, here he is. He's arrived. And then very quickly it was like, get out. But no, I mean, the worst moment, I'd probably have to say the Arsenal home game, I think. Don't get me wrong, Arsenal have been very impressive this year, but the fact that we just let them have it. There was no fight. There was nothing in that game, unfortunately. But you could say that about many games this season. And then player of the season, I think I'd have to give it to Archie Gray. I think just the emergence of him and the professionalism and, for such a young age, him being so vital to this team and what he's done in moments, to keep us in this. I know he hasn't been playing recently and I understand that. I get maybe going with the senior players and hoping that they can kind of drag you through with their experience. But I think Archie Gray has shown himself to be a future captain, possibly of Spurs, a leader, somebody who could really take this club forward if we were to kind of stay up and keep progressing. Last thing I wanted to mention just about, I know you've been speaking to everybody and mentioning the question, what do Tottenham need to do in the future? What do they need to change? And I think, we could say so many things. I'm sure you could do about a 3-hour podcast on every single thing that needs to change at the club, because so much does. And I think a lot of people are pinning their hopes on, the ownership changing. I mean, if we get relegated, I don't think there's a chance of that happening, but if the ownership was to go, I mean, that would be great. But I think we all need to understand that obviously we don't really have too much say in that happening. We've got to hope that could happen. But if that wasn't to happen, we need people at the top of the club. We need a massive, massive change in that, a whole overhaul in terms of the sporting directors and things like that. But we need this club to start acting like a big club, to start acting like the big club they are. Tottenham Hotspur is massive, absolutely massive. The fan base, everything is crazy. It's crazy how big Tottenham are. Yet we don't act like the big clubs. We've never bought like the big clubs. You had a question previously to a guest saying, what position do you need to strengthen the most? I mean, every position, but one thing I've always noticed with Spurs this season, especially, you look at the midfield of the top 6 and you look at Tottenham's. I mean, it's crazy the difference in quality. The money they've spent as well. Chelsea spending 100 million on Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Arsenal on Rodri, even Newcastle with Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali. That's world-class midfielders, and Tottenham have never bought a world-class player like you've said. The last one you said was Jurgen Klinsmann, and that's before my time. I never really, we've grown them, but
in your time,
haven't seen them.
in your time, when was the last world-class player we bought?
Bought, yeah, I couldn't tell you bought. I couldn't tell you bought. I mean, obviously we had Son and we had Kane develop into those world-class players, but bought, you know, they never came to the club readily made players that were going to come in and make an impact instantly. We just don't see that. And that's such a shame, because there's no reason why Tottenham Hotspur Football Club shouldn't have those players. If Newcastle can have those players, if Aston Villa can strive to have those players, Tottenham should have those players by all means. So yeah, it's so much needs to change if Tottenham want to be the big club that they say they strive to be, they want to be. And you know, unfortunately, it starts right at the top, and it's got to trickle down. And it's a shame, because I mean, I know we've been linked with Sebastian Kiel from Dortmund.
Yeah,
that doesn't inspire me. You know, he hasn't had a history of negotiating with big name players. You know, he didn't. His biggest signing there was Nico Schlotterbeck from Freiburg for 20 million. You know, he's not gone out there and gone, you know, 80 million, 100 million pound player. These are the players I want. These are the players I get. And unfortunately, maybe there's a whole thing of ENIC have kind of hamstrung the directors of football and the managers at Tottenham. And, you know, again, we could go on and on about different things about Spurs and how many issues there are. But I guess right now, the main thing to focus on is the next 20 hours, the next 90 minutes of football Spurs have got, and just hoping they can grind it through, get a result, and we can, you know, not forget about this season, but we can move on, analyse our issues and sort them out.
Absolutely, Joseph. I think you and I could speak about Spurs for hours on end. So
definitely,
I will definitely be in touch in the very near future to get you on a couple of podcasts.
Of course, that'll be great, Chris. Thank you very much. Again, appreciate everybody. It's great to see so many people tuning in and, you know, praying that we can get a result, and let's hope for the best. But again, thank you for having me, Chris. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for your time and have a great weekend. Cheers.
You too. Take care.
Cheers. Right, we're now going to go to our final guest. And Dustin, I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. How are you?
All right, it gave me a chance to restart my laptop because it crashed just as it was coming to the end. So I was like, I better restart it now.
Dustin, how are you feeling about this game against Everton? How are you feeling about West Ham's game, or don't you care about it?
I don't care about West Ham's game because I have a feeling that, I mean, the only thing that we can hope for is West Ham being more crap than we are. But, you know, that's the kind of season that we've had. We should arguably be doing what we can within our game so that we don't have to rely on other games. But it's at home, and we've won 2 games all season, which is a ludicrous thing to think about when we think about the undefeated season at the Lane, when we said goodbye to White Hart Lane. So, records are there to be broken, but all indications state that our home form has been terrifically bad this season.
Dustin, without doubt, you are definitely our stat man on the channel. So I'm going to give you this question that I gave to someone earlier. Why do you think our home record has been so poor in these last 2 seasons, particularly this season? And as you just referenced it, only 2 Premier League home wins this campaign. One of them was on the opening weekend against Burnley. The last time we won there was against Brentford back in December. So we haven't won at home ground for over 5 months. But when you look at the 2 games under Roberto De Zerbi, we very nearly won both of them. But can you pinpoint it, why it has been so bad?
So I think that at home in general, one of the things is that the pressure is on the players. The other part of it is that, you know, we built this stadium to be a sound bowl. So, you know, I remember my first game when I attended at the Lane, it was a 1-1 draw against West Brom. And that was like kind of the end of AVB's reign. It was Van der Vaart's last game before we sold him. So the mood around the stadium was, you know, a bit tentative, you know, that when a player misses a pass, you hear people go, fucking hell. So that kind of transmits to the players. I'm not going to blame the fans because we've been put through a lot this season, and I'm never going to say that it's the fans' fault. I'm going to say that the coaching for a team that expects to be playing in the Champions League, expects to be competing, the way Thomas Frank was coaching the team does not lend itself to a home crowd that has expectations. If you're Brentford and you're happy to slug it out and stick in the division, they don't really care how they play. But with Spurs, today as do, we have expectations of how we're going to play at home. And if we're going to play at home like a low block and counter team, or we're going to play at home not expecting to possess the ball. And it's fine if you do that and you win, but if you do that and you're not doing well, that's going to transmit to the crowd. The crowd's not going to like that because it's not the style of play that we like to watch. And if it isn't even getting results, we've seen with Mourinho, we could have the best coach in the world for that style of play. Once it doesn't work, once the results don't go with you, the crowd is not happy about it. And if you build a stadium that magnifies sound, it's great when you're cheering. It's terrible when you miss a pass and you hear the crowd go, oh.
Dustin, certainly there was disappointment on Tuesday at Chelsea, obviously for losing the game, but there was also disappointment for a number of players not shooting from outside the box or when we got close to goal. During Roberto De Zerbi's time at Spurs, I know you've analysed every single manager in a lot of detail this season on this channel. Thomas Frank, Igor Tudor, now De Zerbi. What real positives do you see under Roberto De Zerbi? And is it still frustrating to you to see these players not shooting when we are in key positions? And particularly when we were chasing that game at Chelsea, you think, look, if you want a chance to score, if you want a chance to get that vital point that we need to remain in the Premier League, you've got to shoot.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that I've analysed it this season, right? Under Thomas Frank, he was coached with a belief that, that shots from outside the box are low XG, which is why he didn't do it a lot. And the last time I analysed it, we had conceded 11 long shots this season, right? So I'm just going to bring up De Zerbi's kind of XG, just as a way of showing how different the play under De Zerbi has been. So the blue is when we have XG, and then the red is the XG that we allow opponents. You can see the whole season, other than the first game against Burnley, which is when we had good XG. The rest of the games, we have been conceding better chances than we've been making. There are some exceptions, like the game against Brentford over here. But you can see with like Frank's reign, because he doesn't possess the ball, because he doesn't have many ideas in possession other than passing it to Kudus and let Porro and Kudus save the day, we were never consistently creating good enough chances to make up for the fact that we played more of an out-of-possession game, which means that when you play against a good team, you concede a lot and you see this big red spike over here. You can see consistently under De Zerbi, other than the first game against Sunderland, what happened was that we actually got better defensively, and we consistently created better chances than we've conceded this season. So that's a big part of like what's changed. You can see this blue part here is, what you should have. If you are generally creating better chances across the season, you end up higher in the table. So I can consistently say, other than the Sunderland game, that's what he's done.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Dustin, how do you see this panning out, these final games at the London Stadium and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? What would your score predictions be for these matches?
The one tactical thing that I think is important is that Muani gets nowhere near the first team. The only reason Muani should be there is for Kevin Danso to launch him in the sun at the very first long throw, because he has contributed nothing on the right wing. And I think that, even though that we have very few attacking players, we do have solutions for that on the wing. One possible solution is to play Porro as the right back and Spence as the right winger. But what happens is that I know that people prefer Spence as the defensive right back, and he can actually do that because that's what we do out of possession. But when we're in possession, we can actually have Spence maintaining width. If you bring up the slides, I've got something for this actually. So one thing that we have here, right, is we have Porro over here. If Spence maintains width, Porro is actually better within the right half space rather than being wide, because Porro is not a winger that has to go all the way here to make a cross. He's got such a good curl on his cross. He's very similar to Trent Alexander-Arnold, where he can cross from deep, and the curl and his placement of the ball into the corridor of danger makes it difficult for the centre-backs and the keeper to deal with. So most of Porro's crosses have actually come from a deeper area, and he doesn't need to do it on the wing. He can do it in the half space over here. If you have Spence maintaining width here and Porro over here, what happens is that he can put these crosses in there, and if they come to block the crosses, right, that creates space. If Gallagher runs in here, there's more danger as well. So you have Porro maintaining, you have Spence maintaining width, Porro in the half space, swinging crosses in, and if you try to block the crosses, then you have Gallagher that runs in here. And then on the back stick, you've got Bentancur, who's good in the air, as well as Richarlison. Then on the left wing, the other options we have is that if we have Maddison, and I'm going to say that I think Maddison should start. And there are a few reasons for that. I'll get back to that later. But if you have Maddison, Tel, and Udogie on the left wing, and you have Solanke creating chances and be helping in build up, then you've got stuff that happens on the left wing, and then this is the stuff that can happen from the right wing. So, in terms of why Maddison should start, I think that right now we are concerned about, Maddison's injury and everything, and the idea behind him starting later is that he starts against tired players. But Maddison's play doesn't rely on him beating tired players. He's not Gareth Bale running down the wing, right? He's about guile, he's about finding his teammates. If he's playing against tired players, he's also got tired teammates, right? And it's more ideal to actually have him on and help us control the game while we're all fresh and he has runners, because he needs fresh teammates to run into space for the chances that he's going to create. If you bring him on against tired opponents, he's also got tired teammates. So if you have Maddison on early, we can control the game rather than you bring him on and we're already a goal down and then the game's a lot more pressed. The game state is different. If the opposition is a goal ahead, then they can afford to play defensively. Whereas if you start Maddison, it's still a draw game. He can control the game. When we control more of the ball, we're more comfortable in possession rather than waiting for him to come on and save us with 20 minutes left. So the thing about Maddison starting, that's my argument. And if you pair him with maybe Bissouma as an alternative ball carrier and receiver so that he's not the only one that's progressing the ball up, then you have options that take some of the load off him as well. The thing about him is that he receives the ball deeper, but he also faces the play. He's always thinking about where to be so that he can receive the ball and look at the play. And if you've seen the 2 games that he's played with us, he's actually directing players, where they should run, what kind of spaces he wants them to move into. And I think that's the very big difference that it makes having Maddison on. So if you look at his stats from just the short amount of minutes he had on against Chelsea, he created 23 touches there, and you look at all of them, they're incisive touches where he's creating stuff on the left, he's dictating play, and there's very little backwards and sideways passing. So I think that for that reason he should start, because it helps us control the game better and we're not so desperate when he comes on.
Dustin, without James Maddison, who can be that creative spark?
That is a very, very difficult question to answer because we don't really have any player that's like him at the moment. The only one would be Xavi Simons, whose ACL is gone. You would have Kulusevski, which is a different kind of player, which is it's when he receives facing play. So you don't have a player like Maddison at all. We have players that can do certain aspects of what he does, but we don't have a player like Maddison. Oh, the other thing I was saying about Spence playing right wing, which is Spence can be that option because he can carry the ball and maintain width. But, it's not the worst idea in the world to put Sarr there either, because Sarr can eat up the grass and he can put in a cross as well. Potentially Gallagher can play there. So there are players that can play in that position. It's not the best because they're not actual wingers, but neither is Muani. Muani has been so disappointing over the last 2 games that I don't think that he should start at all.
Wow. Yeah, Dustin, thanks for these graphics. I absolutely love these graphics, I must say. Thanks so much for your work that you've done.
I have another topic as well, which is kind of the whole thing about the coach meet, right? And I'm not entirely clear about what's happened with the coach meet, but it seems that Return of the Shelf is not really supportive, and then Spurs song sheet are still going ahead, Change for Tottenham are still going ahead. So it feels like we're not all unified on whether we're meeting the coach or not. And I think a lot of this actually matters depending on, and I think this is the point of contention, whether De Zerbi asked for it or not. Because the impression I'm getting from the tweets that I'm reading is that the club asked for the coach meet and it's not actually De Zerbi's call. So I don't know what's true, but I think that there are a few reasons why if De Zerbi wants it, we should definitely do it. If De Zerbi doesn't want it, then maybe it's not the best idea. The reason for this is when you do something like that, it's true that players see that we support them and everything, but it puts pressure on. We saw what that happened in the previous game. But that was under Tudor. And under Tudor, it doesn't feel like Tudor handled the players well. He wasn't a very good man manager.
Dustin,
So
why do you, sorry to interrupt, but why do you think that it would put pressure on players by those fans being outside the stadium? Because all those fans are going to be inside the stadium as well. Why would it create extra pressure for the players? I can't quite get my head around that extra pressure line.
I think what it is that it raises the stakes of the game.
But we all know how important it is. They know.
I agree. But the what matters is how good are the players at in terms of managing their emotions and it raising their game. Because if you have additional pressure, not every player reacts to it well. For some people, pressure makes diamonds. Put the pressure on, I like it. Like James Maddison would love having more pressure on because there are players that have elite mentality where pressure makes them play better, and there are players where pressure makes them crumble. So the reason I say that it matters whether De Zerbi wants it or not, because De Zerbi is a better man manager than Tudor. So I'll give you an example of when a coach has actually used pressure to a positive extent. Rafa Benitez in the Champions League final, when Liverpool were 3-0 down at halftime, you could hear the Liverpool fans from the dressing room. And he pointed to the Liverpool fans and you can hear them. They came all the way here for you. Can we get one goal for these fans that are singing for us? And that's what started. Or rather, it wasn't the only thing. But if a coach uses the pressure that the fans build well, it actually increases the motivation. So Tudor was never going to be that person. So that display was great, but Tudor didn't use it to maximize what the players could do. In the hands of a man manager that's able to do that, and if De Zerbi asks for it, that means he knows how he wants to use it. So if De Zerbi wants the coach greet, definitely should happen. But if the club is trying to leverage on that and De Zerbi is ambivalent or doesn't actually want it, I'm not sure.
He said before about if the fans wanted to do it, then he would back it. Now, if you, obviously, I know you're in Singapore, but if you were in London for the game on Sunday, would you personally go to visit the coach? Do you think it is a good idea for you personally?
Well, I mean, as a tourist, right? As a tourist fan that doesn't get to go often, I'm going for the maximum experience. I'm going as early as possible when there are going to be people there. I didn't get to go when you guys won the Europa League for the celebration in the streets, right? So for a tourist fan, the answer is always yes, because we've gone all the way there. We rarely get to be there in person. It's making memories. As a regular fan, I see no reason why you wouldn't go there, because you don't want to turn back and go, I didn't do everything I could. And I think this season, the fans are the only people associated with the club that can really hold their heads up high, which is they've supported in every particular way. Even when we've had our grouses with how the board have run the club into the ground, we've always been very clear that we're still supporting the team. And, we've also even held back protests that we could have had, because we're like, the team needs us now, and we don't want them to think that the negativity to the board is also negativity towards them. So the fans have actually tried to thread the needle of supporting the team while trying to hold the board responsible. So I think that it is a difficult balance to strike, but if De Zerbi can handle the additional pressure and redirect it to make the players perform better, then 100% we should do it.
Dustin, who do you think will be the Spurs captain next season?
at this point, is there any captain that we can point at and go that they've consistently done a good job, other than James Maddison, who's been absent most of the time? Like literally, there were people saying Archie Gray, right? So like we've gotten to the point where a teenager is our best. Like 2 seasons in a row, Bergvall and Archie Gray, they've been our best players of the season. And what does that tell you about the state of the club? Not to say that they're bad players, but when a teenager is your most mature player, or is the one that seems to be the one that's pulling up trees that the fans believe in, to vote them player of the season, or to say future captain, or even make him captain now, it really talks about a huge void in the leadership in the club, where we have a club captain that is in Argentina watching his boyhood team instead of being around when we're playing a game of this magnitude.
Dustin, lastly, talk to me about this Christian Romero situation, because honestly, while we've been recording this stream, an hour before we hit the record button, Romero posted a picture of him at a London barber's. So everyone's naturally thought that he is back in London. And now during the stream, a lot of people have been saying that these pictures are old pictures. Why on earth would a player post old pictures of him in London at a barber's? I can't get my whole head around this situation, because like I said at the very start, I don't know whether you were still with us at that point, but a captain should be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday, regardless of injury issues, whatever it is. If it was an important family issue, or there was a problem with family matters or whatever, completely get it. But for him to say about or his agent to come out and say about the rehab being in Argentina, what do you make of it?
So once he posted that picture, right, all the people that do GeoGuessr were like, okay, the clouds are not right, like basically, I think that what's happened is he's gone and done it. The club this is a club that has no, I don't know what they're thinking. They have no filter at all. They post about South by Southwest. They send our CEO there with a picture of Arsenal logo there. They post about South by Southwest and oh yes, beyond a brand. They have LinkedIn posts about, oh, we've got 2 apps now. Isn't this great in our worst ever season? So the club has no common sense whatsoever, no idea what the fans are looking at. And they decided, let's let him go to Argentina. His agent may be saying all the right things, that he's going there for his recovery and everything. Why was there no statement? Why do we find out from Belgrano's club Twitter that he's there? It's how we found out. We found out from his club making the most of his name that he's there, and we're like, what the hell is happening? Why is our captain in Argentina, right?
Yeah.
So and then he's probably seen the fallout. His agents telling him, oh, you've probably got to find a way to say that you're back in London. He can post the picture and we can debate about whether he's actually at the Bowers or not. It doesn't matter. Are you going to be there on the day of the game? I don't need you cutting your hair in London. I don't need you posting pictures of yourself at Big Ben. I want you in the stadium talking to your teammates who need you.
Yeah. Like I said before, I just think that the captain should 100% be there. No excuses. And
Son is doing more for our club now than he is. He's watching all the games. He's talking about how, I watch all the games. It's terrible that we're in this situation. Like Son, our former captain, is being more of a captain now than Romero is.
Dustin, have you got more slides to go through, or is that it?
I do, but let me see whether it's relevant, because not all of it is relevant. I have it prepared, but it isn't always relevant. But it's more like, I've already talked it through. The rest of the stuff is more next season stuff, which is like how we should sign Sebastian Kehl. Really bad idea. I've always talked about how we should have a director of football, because it reduces variability. When you lose your manager, you're not thrown into disarray. I'm not sure if I believe it for this board, because it means that they have to get 2 hires right. They have to get a manager hire right and a director of football hire right, and I'm not sure I trust them with that. So if you get a manager that knows what he wants, then just let the manager choose it, because I don't trust you to put someone on top of him that will manage him well. And if a bad director of football will actually make the manager leave. And we've got a good one now. So let's not put someone incompetent like, it doesn't sound from the Dortmund fans like this guy is any better than Langer.
Dustin, thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you so much for all of your amazing work that you have provided on this channel. You've had so many nice comments since you've come on today. I did actually say that this fan show was going to be only 2 hours. Will put in the comments earlier saying, I don't believe you, it's going to go on a lot longer. And Will, you're absolutely right, nearly 3 hours, 40 minutes. So, but I've enjoyed talking to every single one of you, particularly you, Dustin. And thanks so much for all of your support during this year, Dustin. So are Spurs going to be in the Premier League? Final question for you.
If Muani plays, if Muani starts, I really don't know. He's been that useless. He literally cost us the second goal from being completely lackadaisical about his passing. So Muani cannot start. If he starts, I don't see us getting anything from the game, because it's hard enough to beat a team when you have 11. Playing with Muani, you might as well really have done so, throw him to the moon. He's better not being there at this point. In the last game, we would have played better against Chelsea if he didn't make that pass. So he's literally better not being there. I almost feel like it comes down to who plays worse, and I suspect that we may not get what we need, but West Ham might just do worse than us. So I don't have anything inspiring to say. If Maddison starts and Muani doesn't start, I give us a shot. If Maddison doesn't get injured, I think it gives us more control of the game. But if Maddison doesn't start and Muani starts, I think we're bang in trouble.
Dustin, hopefully we'll talk a lot during the summer, and hopefully we'll talk about Spurs still in the Premier League next season. Sonia Evans writes here, watching on YouTube, yes, we will remain a Premier League team. Sonia, I like your optimism, and hopefully that will be the case, because a huge final day of the season at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 4 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. Fingers crossed, well, actually, in fact, everything crossed. Dustin, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who come on the fan show today. Remember, if you'd like to join us on a future fan show, please just send me an email, tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It'd be great to talk to you. And we will be back. Craig will be back with the Spurs Chat Podcast straight after the Everton game. And I'll be back with a number of shows throughout the summer. But if you do switch off throughout the summer, have a good one. And we will see you in the new 26-27 campaign. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for your support, and come on, you Spurs.